there hope for democracy? We are that hope. You have the power to push the direction of our country. Our culture, our morals, our government are in our hands, so long as we choose to influence them as such. We are not quiet. We are not stagnant. We are not dead. The time to take charge is now. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Veterans Take Charge radio show.
Wait a minute.
Proud to sit fast. Welcome to the Veterans Take Charge radio show. My name is Dave Ramos, former combat medic sergeant in the United States Army. On my right, as always, the father with the most, my co-host, bro host with the mo-host.
What's up? Justin Baker, 75th Rangers. Rangers lead the way.
Hey, welcome back. Hey, if you guys are streaming us on Facebook Live, just be aware that later on we're going to have a phone call that you can't hear it. So if you guys want to see us, I highly recommend YouTube. Go to YouTube and look up KSCO Global, and you'll see our faces, and you'll see what's going on in studio. And I have to let you know that there is some pretty darn good stuff going on in studio right now.
And a lot of it. There's a lot of stuff going on in studio.
Oh man, I love this show.
Is it just me, or is it sweltering hot in here?
That might just be you.
Okay.
Although I am wearing
it's pretty warm.
Some pretty hot garb right now.
I've got a little human stuck to my side making me sweat.
Hey, like I was just saying, I love this radio show. As a matter of fact, I think that you all, after this radio show, should go to zbsradio.com and look up the Veterans Take Charge radio show. Scope out our archive. Last week was intense and amazing and empowering. It was a tale of I shouldn't say it like that. It's not a tale of this or that. Joshua Montz was here in studio with us. He was a former infantry officer. He was a major in the infantry of the United States Army, and he has a tremendous story. And I there's so many facets to that story, man. It's one thing to say that he was shot by a sniper and killed, but that's not what the story's about. The story's about the second life that he was given. A 19-year-old medic and an amazing trauma team saved his life. He flatlined for like 15 minutes. And that really is the beginning of the rest of his story. His story, talking about trauma and rehabilitation. Well, let me start over. Josh, since he got out, he's an author. He wrote The Beauty of a Darker Soul. Everybody should also, when you get a chance, go to darkersouls.com and scope out his book. He's a public speaker. He's going around. As a matter of fact, man, I'm jumping all over the place with Josh. I'm just really excited because he's an awesome dude. He's got an awesome message, and everybody should go back and listen to it. Everybody should go back and listen to it.
Check out the archive at zbsradio.com. That's zbsradio.com. And last Sunday's date, and you can pull that broadcast up. I think you can download it, right, Jay? You can download it. You can take it on your iPod or your phone, your smartphone, to work with you and listen to it there or whatever. But it's a true story of life and death and survival.
It was kind of fitting, being Mother's Day, that we told the story of him essentially kind of being resurrected. I mean, every mother wants to hear good things about their children, right? So hearing the story of how he was brought back to life and then had such an urgency of responsibility and urgency of realistically of guilt to go back downrange 4 months after being shot by a sniper. And there's some specifics about that story. He wasn't directly hit by the sniper, but the trajectory of the bullet is...
It went through the chest of his platoon leader, or
it was
one of his E6s, I believe, right? Yeah, it went through and severed one of his arteries in his chest, and Josh literally saw the life slip out of his team leader's eyes. And team leader was dead before he hit the ground, and then the bullet bounced through the E6 into Josh's leg and severed his femoral artery in his thigh.
And then kept going and hit the interpreter.
And he literally, with a severed femoral, he dragged his teammate's body out of the line of fire,
Yeah.
I mean, just as blood is pulsating out of his body, and he literally bled out and was dead for 15 minutes, and the medical team was able to bring him back. So a miracle.
Absolutely. But again, the story, that's not the story. The story is his mission going back, and his mission, his message that he is trying to spread as much as possible. Again, check out Darker Souls. Can you guys hear that gooing in the background?
I couldn't get a babysitter, so I got the baby in studio with me today.
VIP personnel. So go back and check that out. And I also want to let you all know that Josh Mons is going to be back in studio next weekend. And I am very excited to have Josh on because he's also going to be on with the one and only Greg Amundsen. Greg and I met on Monday, and he has an amazing plan set out for veterans in the community, as well as, I would like to think that everybody can attend to this, but realistically it's going to happen at CrossFit Amundsen. I don't want to give too many details, but it's veteran-centered. It's all about rehabilitation. It's all about physical, mental, and spiritual rehabilitation, which merges almost perfectly to what Josh is doing, that rehabilitation from trauma, So Josh Mons and Greg Amundsen are going to be back on the radio show next weekend. And there's also supposed to be a pretty high-profile VIP with Josh that I won't give away any surprises. We'll see what happens. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. I'm very pumped about the direction that the Veterans Take Charge radio show is taking for the next couple of weeks. Like I said, we've got Greg and Josh. We're going to have Tactical Medics coming in studio. Oh, as you were. Darn it. They're not coming in studio. They're in Texas. But that's all right. Tactical Medics in Texas. They're doing a lot of tactical combat casualty care. Terry Moore. I'm really excited to talk to him because he is an Australian combat medic. Or he was a combat medic for the Australian military. And I'm really excited to talk to him about not only tactical medics and tactical combat casualty care, but the difference between the Australian military's take on things.
That should be an interesting conversation. I got to work with some Australian commandos when I was in Afghanistan, and from what I witnessed, those guys are on point.
I believe that.
Great soldiers,
I definitely believe that. I wouldn't want to mess with an Aussie.
No, they do Australian fast roping.
Can I say that out loud?
That is some crazy stuff.
Next up, we're going to have June 11th, Bradley Pasola. He is a former Marine and the proponent of Triple B Adventures. I'm very excited about that. Now, one of the battle buddies with Joshua Mons, Dr. Gellis, Dr. Ron Gellis, has been a psychologist for a really long time. He's a Navy veteran. He's doing some amazing stuff in the vein of military sexual trauma and rehabilitation of victims of military sexual trauma. And then we're going to have one of my mentors, one of my very best friends, my brother from another mother, who's currently a first sergeant in Bavaria, Jerome Lewis. Ooh, that makes me so freaking happy.
Bavaria?
Yeah, he's in Bavaria now.
You must be loving that, huh?
He really is. I FaceTimed him a couple of days ago, and yeah, he's doing some really good things. Anywho, that is what's coming up in the near future for the Veterans Take Charge radio show. I highly recommend and urge everyone to go to zbsradio.com and find the Veterans Take Charge radio show. That is our archive with all of our previous broadcasts. And then you can go to facebook.com/KSCOVets. A couple of interesting posts had initiated some interesting conversation that I think everyone, again, should go and check out. Facebook.com/KSCOVets. You can see all the different things we've been posting. Recently, there was a graduation. Not my graduation. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you guys are on Facebook Live and YouTube, you can see what I'm talking about. Anyway, so there was a graduation of females from infantry basic training, getting ready to go on to airborne school and on the way to infantry units. Think about that. Women in the military are achieving such amazing things, and now they're like combat arms. She's excited,
right?
She's pumped. She's gonna be a ranger. She's gonna be a ranger.
She will be. And there might be some angry old man rangers about that, but.
And that's the interesting conversation. I highly recommend you guys go and check that article out because there are some interesting conversations. Somebody started throwing around like, do I need to get spiritual or biblical? Do I need to bust out some biblical scripture on why this is a thing?
Is it a thing?
No, I don't think so.
831-479-1080. Should women be serving in the infantry? We only have about 20 minutes for phone calls because we're going to have a guest the rest of the show. But so the only issues that the male soldiers that I know that are taking issue with this have is these girls got to be able to carry a limp, half-dead fellow soldier off the battlefield. They got to be able to pick them up, get them on their shoulders, and carry them off the battlefield.
So does 170-pound Joe Snuffy.
But Joe Snuffy can do it. I used to carry a 245-pound man up a 3/4 of a mile long hill, and you couldn't even see me underneath him. All you could see is my feet moving, and Moose, the guy's nickname was Moose, and he was so big. I don't know why they teamed me with him, probably because I was the smallest, but they're like, let's see if Baker can carry Moose.
Probably.
So I just feel like that's the only real concern of mine is they need to be up to the physical fitness standard, and I think that physical fitness standard at the very least should be the minimum requirement for a male infantry soldier. At the very least, there shouldn't be a lower standard for the infantry.
Rosalind Ybarra had posted on this specific post that I'm talking about. And she's one of our battle buddies from the Air Force. She's somebody we went to high school with. She laid it out.
I went to elementary with her.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like at least middle school, all the way back.
Wow, that's awesome. So she put it out pretty greatly. There were standards, not male standards, not female standards. There were standards, and all the graduates achieved those standards, and they earned their blue cord. Beautiful. I love it.
Okay.
There you go.
One set of standards.
Yeah.
That seems fair enough. I mean, we're in a time where, women want equal treatment. Okay. Perform at the level. Mm-hmm. If you perform at the level, there's no reason why you shouldn't get equal treatment. If you can do the job just as well as a man, then you should absolutely be treated just as well as any man on the job.
I like it. I think you're absolutely right. So there you go. They graduated from infantry basic training or infantry design basic training. They're getting ready to go on to additional training for infantry, and then they're getting ready to go into their higher unit. I'm all about it. Individuals who want to quote scripture, and I don't know. I when I saw that, I kind of chuckled to myself because the response to that was like, "What about Joan of Arc?" Correct me if I'm wrong, but she was a religious badass. Nobody was like, "Oh, well, never mind."
They followed her. I'm sure she had people that didn't want to, but yeah, she's a historical figure.
Yeah. So there you go.
Women can do everything men can do. It's just,
there's something else.
Except for bench pressing 500 pounds.
Women were not designed to do everything that men could do. Women were designed to do everything men couldn't do.
Good point.
Think about that as you're holding your baby girl.
Men can't do everything women can do.
Absolutely. I got to take this daggone costume off, man.
It's hot, dude. It's hot.
Okay, so if you guys are on Facebook Live or if you guys are on YouTube Live, I graduated college the other day. I graduated college on Friday, May 19th, in Associates in Arts of Health Sciences. I highly encourage all of you veterans who have not gone and used your GI Bill to use your GI Bill. I highly encourage all of you veterans who have used your GI Bill and not used vocational rehabilitation, see about doing that. I used my GI Bill. I just graduated college. It worked out perfectly. And now vocational rehabilitation. Contact your voc rehab counselor. Terry Theocrates is an amazing person who is very in tune with the system and navigating the system for us. We have to do our due diligence. I did my due diligence, and after in very, very short time frame, I not only applied for and was approved for vocational rehabilitation, I've been accepted to the California State University of Monterey Bay for their degree program, Bachelor's of Collaborative Health and Human Services, with an emphasis on community health education. Take charge now. Is she farting over there?
She's burping.
I highly encourage everybody to take charge now. There's a grip of benefits for us, for veterans, that, as rumor has it, a lot of veterans are not using these benefits.
And it's a tragedy, too, because for me, to be honest, the single best thing about the VA in my 12 years since getting out of the service, or 11 years, was the GI Bill. I mean, that was the one system for me that was flawless. It worked. Every month I got my money on time. I was able to go to school. All the books and units were paid for. It was too easy. It was like the best deal for a college student in the country is for us veterans. So if you paid for that GI Bill, you need to use it.
Too easy.
It'll supposedly, if you get a college degree, you make $1 million more throughout your lifetime on average. So that couldn't hurt.
Yo, I can dig that.
Yeah. Extra $1 million never hurt me.
831-479-1080 is the number to call. This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We'll be right back.
Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. That's why Dignity Health Dominican Hospital and Dignity Health Medical Group Dominican work with you to make personal choices regarding your health. It's the type of care we can offer because we're more than just a hospital and medical group. We're part of this community. Visit DominicanHospital.org to find a doctor and start living healthy today. Healthcare that fits your Santa Cruz lifestyle. Dignity Health. Hello, human kindness.
Guess who's back on KSCO with his own show? Remember Wes, the gun guy? Well, Wes is now talking about stocks. No, I didn't make that up. You couldn't make that up. Really, his show's called My Two Cents. He and a bunch of his friends are going to sit around like they're playing poker, and they're going to talk about stocks. Now, before you invest any money in anything Wes and his buddies talk about, do your due diligence. He might know what he's talking about. Then again, maybe not. Sunday, 6 p.m., right here on KSCO.
This is Mrs. Future from the Dr. Future Show. We have had Etheric Networks for 10 years, and it has always been really a stellar service. There's always a real person there if you have any need to call them. They fix things as quickly as possible. Our service has hardly ever been down, and the service is just great. We live kind of in the middle of nowhere, and there are no other mainstream bandwidth providers where we are, and Etheric is a great service. We're really lucky we have it. Thank you, Etheric Networks.
KSCO Residential Special. Residential service up to 10 megabits per second, symmetric. That's up and down for $85 a month and $199 installation. With guaranteed minimum speeds and uptime, unlike our competitors. Etheric Networks. Call 650-399-4200. That's 650-399-4200. Etheric.net. That's ETHERIC.net.
Welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. So this week I got a call from my battle buddy Maddox. I hope you all remember Maddox. He is very charismatic. He is very on point and dedicated to his mission. And later on in the coming months, we're gonna let you know exactly what that mission is. He's got an objective and a plan of action, and it's freaking solid. But Maddox hits me up on Wednesday, and he's like, "Hey man, you got to come down to Monterey. You got to come down to Monterey right now." I was like, "Oh man, I got like dinner to make and stuff." But he was, I mean, you've heard Maddox. He was like, "This is a moment, man. This is your destiny calling." So I said, "Okay, fine. I'll be there. I'll be there as soon as possible." Right. So he brought me into a town hall meeting with former Congressman Sam Farr, with Zach Friend, and with the two other names escape me. There was oh, doggone it, this is not cool.
Is Zach Friend our county supervisor?
Zach Friend is our county supervisor, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah. So there was Sam Farr, Zach Friend, Adrienne Harris. She's an economic policy specialist assistant to, she was an economic policy special assistant to President Barack Obama, and Mr. Spencer Critchley, who has done a whole heck of a lot of things. As of right now, he's a media consultant. So we listened to this panel of very highly esteemed politicians talk, and the theme was, is there hope for democracy? I'm going to open that up to all you all out there in audience land. Is there hope for democracy? 831-479-1080 is the number to call. So we listened to them talk for a good solid 2 hours. Well, about an hour and a half, because there was some question and answer period. And it was informative. It was very good to hear these politicians just like straight from the horse's mouth. You know what I'm saying?
So how did it go at the end of the conversation? Did you have high hopes for where America's headed?
Interesting.
Or democracy
There were
in general?
three main questions that they asked. Where are we in relation to democracy? How did we get here in relation to democracy? And where are we going in relation to democracy? So now democracy thrives on input. It thrives on the interaction of the citizens, right? So ultimately, it was a very good talk. I got some good information. I took some good notes, but ultimately I have to say that I didn't hear anything new per se, but it did kind of open my eyes and expand my train of thought to how we can be involved. Is there hope for democracy? Yeah, absolutely there's hope for democracy. So long as we stay involved, so long as we don't just talk about it, we got to be about it. And that's one of my favorite sayings from the military that I learned. Don't just talk about it, be about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Don't be a talker, be a doer. And that's, I mean, that to me, it seems like there's the economics can impact our ability to be about it, because if we're all struggling just to pay the rent so that our kids have a place to sleep and to put food on the table, we can't always get out and vote. And I know employers are supposed to, let you leave on the clock, you can go vote, whatever, or they have to give you the time off to go vote. But the truth is that's not always possible. It's not always possible to go do community service. It's not always possible because we're all struggling just to pay the bills. And I think economics has a huge impact on our ability to be doers.
You're absolutely right. Those are actually some of the things that was touched on. The actual availability to get out of work to go vote.
Yeah.
And we start talking about voter restriction laws and things like that. Is there hope for democracy? Yeah, absolutely. As long as we are able to be involved with it.
What do you think about this election's impact on democracy in this country? I mean, it's said that somehow Bernie Sanders had 4 to 6 million votes that ended up not going towards his total during the Democratic convention, right? Mm-hmm. And they're saying that maybe Hillary was able to block those so that he didn't get credit for them or whatever, and that could have changed. I don't know what the numbers ended up being in the Democratic primary or whatever, but that could have ended up changing Bernie's sway of the vote, right?
Truth, integrity, and transparency are 3 things that we deserve as American citizens.
Yes,
and
I agree. I fully agree.
With this, I don't think, with this being this election, I don't believe that we've gotten that. Not completely.
How do you feel about the fact that President Obama said, when they asked him, do you think that there's any way that this election is rigged? He kind of just chuckled, ho, 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 And then now they're all saying, oh, the Russians and President Trump. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Didn't our president just say it's physically impossible to rig the elections? But now that a Republican candidate won, all of a sudden they were rigged. I mean, come on.
That brings up a really good point, that transparency. And it's not just this presidency, it's the presidency in general. It's politics in general. Politicians. I have a very hard time believing politicians face value. I have friends that are running for politics right now who have run for politics. And it's
I tend to believe them.
With them having an eye-to-eye conversation, I can get behind that. Yeah. But listening to what we see on media, and that's a whole nother thing that they talked about. The truth behind the media, the spin behind the media, the bias behind the media. How does that serve our democracy? It kind of doesn't. When it's all
false,
spun up,
it's false information.
Exactly.
It's spin. That's all it is spin, And I think it's really time that we start having discussions with everybody. Everybody should be having these discussions with everybody, is which news outlets can still be trusted. Obviously there's the Veterans Take Charge radio show, which is my, but when I'm talking, I'm passionate about what I believe, and I'm sure on occasion I'm wrong. Maybe more times than not. I don't like to think that way, but
this reinforces the need to be involved. Because we can listen to the politicians and we can bite on every word that they're saying, but who's saying that they're telling us what we want to hear as opposed to what we need to hear?
Yeah, exactly.
They're
telling us what they want us to hear. Not what we want to hear, but what they want us to hear. That's what I think is going on.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. And again, it's that spin, it's that agenda. They talked very candidly about political corruption, and they talked very candidly about, and it was funny because Zach Friend actually made the comment. He's like, now that Sam Farr is not in office, he can tell us exactly what he really thinks. And that stuck with me because it made me think, in his last 24 years of being our congressman here of California, did he not?
Right. I mean, that's the truth too. If you want your political career to keep escalating, you get put in check by bigger, more powerful people, and you got to play it their way. I mean, it's the ultimate chess game,
It's funny because one-on-one, they said that individually, politicians, they are doing the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing for the right reasons. But when you get them all together, this reminds me of going to the Warrior Leader course. Did you ever go to any of those leadership courses, anything like that? WLC?
I went to Ranger School.
There you go. That is actually the premier leadership course.
That's the premier starvation course, sleep deprivation course.
The Warrior Leader course, BNOC, the Basic Non-Commissioned Officer course, ANOC, the Advanced Non-Commissioned Officer course. What happens when you get a grip of sergeants all together? everybody turns into a private, man.
Right.
You get a whole bunch of Joes together. We're just gonna start dragging our knuckles and breathing out of our mouth.
Everyone reverts back at a couple of promotions.
But the fact of the matter is that when you get everybody together, it's the tide. The tide goes one way or another. You know, the individual drops of that bucket might want to do the right thing, but when you get that entire bucket together, it can do. It's not going to go the way that one person wants it to.
It's funny that we're having this conversation right now because I've been watching the Matrix trilogy. Just decided to rent it and watch the whole 3-part, series.
Excellent.
And in the end of the first one, Neo realizes that freedom of choice. Each individual has the freedom to choose, and that's why the Matrix can't really beat humanity. Is because the individual choice is impossible to predict 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just totally lost where I was going with this.
The individual choice is impossible to predict. And that's another reason why I think there is hope for democracy. Because it's easy to say that all this stuff is planned out. All this stuff has been preordained or is orchestrated. It's set in a rigid system that's designed to put Donald Trump in presidency. And next up, it's going to be Yeezy. What the hell is that guy's name?
You gotta figure though. To some sense, it probably is because the powers that be are control freaks. But they would not just roll the dice and say, let's just let the people vote and see whoever wins. No, man. If you're the richest person on earth, you want to know who's going to win. And if you're really rich, you're going to have a Republican candidate and a Democratic candidate on your payroll,
both
on your
in
books,
your back
right?
pocket.
I mean,
that makes sense. But that right there is what rips out the hope for democracy.
Yeah, I know.
That's the scary part. Is that I have hope for democracy because if we can all band together, every single one of us, 360 million Americans, minus the politicians that are in charge, because they're the ones who are orchestrating all this stuff. But if we all banded together and had that one common goal, I think that we could make movements the way that we want them to.
We definitely could. It would definitely help to have a bigger army behind us.
So how do we get that common goal? How do we get that common vision, that common mission?
I mean, I guess the people in charge have probably been asking that all along. The good guys in Washington, D.C. are probably constantly asking that question, like, what do I have to do to get more of my constituents out to vote? Look at what our friend Palmer ran for Senate here in the area, and he's a great guy, and he's educated, and he's a veteran, and he's a disabled veteran. I mean, he served his country, he got broken in the process, and now he wants to serve on the political front, and he had the hardest time just getting people to support him, even though he's a great candidate, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I got to know him, we spent time together.
Exactly.
And this guy's got a lot of the same goals for the community as I do. And but either way, it's like, it's hard to sway the vote. People are so set in their way. Sometimes they're afraid to hear the new perspective or the new direction.
Cognitive dissonance. Dude, you're on it, man. You're absolutely right. When we have the right people, how do we convince everybody else? When we have the right message and the right mission, how do we get it spread far and wide to where people are really going to not only hear it, but understand it, to feel it? That's the hard part, man. That's the hard part. I know you're one-handed, but can you do phone calls? Yep. Let's talk to Mark in Santa Cruz. Mark, welcome to the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show.
Hey, here you refer to as the democracy, majority rule, but that majority can become a lawless mob. So I just wanted you to think about something.
Let's hear it.
Democracy or republic? Why do you pledge allegiance to the republic and not the democracy? Very good program, gentlemen, and think for yourselves. Don't let anybody do your thinking. Thank you.
Proud and steadfast. I like that. Why do I pledge allegiance to the republic and not to the democracy? That's an excellent question.
We're a democratic republic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the conversation that we're having. The democracy has been flawed because as much as I would love to think that we all have the ability to cast in our vote and that vote is going to take for face value, it seems as if it's not. The republic, in my mind, is the American people, is the conglomeration of the American people. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, for those people for which that flag stands. That's my community, whether you wore the uniform or not. Americans.
It occurred to me like a while ago now, I guess, but government should really be a bigger focal point of public education. Like, they should educate kids in high school.
Thanks, Betsy DeVos.
We took one quarter of government in high school, and that's it. You know, there was the senior year government class, and then one quarter was economics. And I did really well in my government class because it was interesting to me. But they didn't have enough time to teach us the truth about government. I mean, there's been so many different types of government throughout history, and it's always evolving. And our country, I would like to think, is still on the forefront. Our type of government is the best that the world has ever known. But we're a young country. If we collapse in the next 10 or 20 or 50 years, obviously our government wasn't that great. The design was flawed, right? Because we didn't last as long as Rome or Egypt or...
Two things just popped into my mind. And damn it, both of them just freaking left. But you had said something a couple of weeks ago, and... Oh, it's killing me that it just popped in and left my mind. But the other thing was a couple of weeks ago we had a caller who had mentioned, the curriculum. If we could have a military history class, how much good would that do? Because we would understand the way that the country was built in relation to the rest of the globe.
Yeah.
And the thing that you had said a couple of weeks ago.
If we knew the true history, the true history of the American military, the Oliver Stone, the Untold Story of America or whatever on Netflix, he goes into that. And General Smedley Butler is a huge character in American politics throughout South America, through, all over the place. Smedley Butler might have been like the most combat-hardened veteran we've ever seen because he was literally expanding the American empire all over the world. And he was the lead general of the Marines, and then he ended up in the White House, or what was he, the Secretary of State or the Secretary of Defense or something like that? Smedley Butler held a high position, but that guy, man, he did dirt for America. Like, he was doing stuff that today we couldn't get away with doing it in other countries, but we are kind of doing the same thing in the Middle East.
That's the flip side. Like, there's people that do bad things for the greater good.
And that's the thing, too. So he hit at the end of his career, one of the most well-known things he ever said was, "War is a racket." And that's because it's used to expand the empire. It's not used because it's necessary all the time. It's used because we want to harvest those resources. We want to, build that area up and have an alliance with the people there or whatever, which is a strategic thing. It's smart. But at the same time, like, lives have to be lost to do that.
Yeah.
And who are we to take those lives? And I think he realized that towards the end of his career,
Ooh-wee. I've been watching that. I've been falling asleep in it.
I like Oliver Stone. I really feel like he's after the truth.
The Untold History of the United States of America. The Untold History of the United States. On Netflix. Everybody should go check it out.
Yeah,
that is a pretty darn good program.
It's a 10-part series.
Yo, this is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We'll be right back. We got Carmelo Rodriguez, a Vet Doc series, former Staff Sergeant, United States Army. He was a scout. He's online waiting to talk to us, and we want to talk to him. Oh, man. So stick around because this is going to get good.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. By far the leading cause of death worldwide is a class of illnesses doctors call non-communicable diseases, or NCDs. These are chronic long-term illnesses that aren't spread from person to person and that don't resolve themselves. One of the more recently described NCDs is a constellation of symptoms referred to as TINU, or TINU. TINU, which stands for tubulo-interstitial nephritis and uveitis, is an inflammation of the kidney blood vessels, that's the tubulo-interstitial nephritis part, and the eyes, that's the uveitis. But this breakdown is not restricted to the eyes and kidneys, that's just where it's noticed. In other words, as exotic and complicated as it sounds, TINU is just another run-of-the-mill circulatory issue that affects the entire body. To reverse TINU or any other circulation system disease, whether it involves the kidneys, the eyes, heart, or the blood flow itself, it's best to take a twofold approach. In the first place, strengthening blood vessels with nutrition, and in the second place, reducing the burdens on the circulatory system by eliminating digestive stresses, lowering blood sugar, and reducing psychological strain, which can put undue pressure on circulatory vessels. That means working on the digestive system by eliminating problem foods and using probiotics, working on the blood sugar system by eating less sweets and flour and processed foods and drink, and turning on the relaxation nervous system. Use nutrition, make sure you're practicing your deep breathing, And of course, mental and emotional strategies are really important. And these are all simple things that everyone should be doing, Tinu or not. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to kscohealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to kscohealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com.
Hey, I'm watching us live on my cell phone.
Nice.
Okay, I'm gonna stop screwing around. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business because there's a situation that's going on right now with our battle buddy in New York, Carmelo Rodriguez, that it spins my mind, man. It spins my mind, first off, because it's happening. Second off, because of how frequent it's been happening. All right? But before we get too much into the problem, let's bring Carmelo on. I'm going to take some deep breaths.
Is this solution problem? There's a problem. Carmelo's the solution.
I sure as hell
So we're
hope
doing
so.
instead of problem solution, we're doing solution problem.
I hope that Carmelo is the solution because Carmelo's got a documentary series, Vet Doc series, and this right here could blow the lid off of what's been going on. Anyway. Carmelo, what's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everything?
Good. Turn him up. I want to hear him.
We're great. Welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you very much for being here, man. Thank you very much for being here on the Veterans Take Charge radio show again and being willing to talk about this specific situation. It's something that needs to be talked about. But before we do that, let's reintroduce you as our veteran battle buddy. You were in the Army. You were a scout, a couple of deployments. Where did you go and when?
I went to Iraq, 06 and 08.
What was as a scout? What kind of missions were you looking at downrange?
It was Cav Scout missions, you know. I guess whatever missions that they put us on, whether it was convoy missions, attacking buildings, or just standing at a post. Yeah.
Pretty much like, that's what I'm supposed to do? Okay, Roger, got it. I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's kind of just it.
Well, when you got out of the military, first off, why and when did you get out of the military?
I got out of the military the end of 2010. I got out on medical discharge. While I was in Iraq, I got hurt. I ended up getting 80% disability from the VA.
All right.
Because of my injury.
Mm.
Yeah.
Was that a low ballpark disability rating, or did they max you out and give you the full rating right off the bat?
No, they gave me 30% at first, and I had a refile, and then I got the rest of it.
So you did one appeal, and then they pushed you to up to 80. But are you entitled to anything more than that they maybe didn't put in to your disability rating?
I don't even know, honestly. As far as that goes, I'm pretty content. You know, as long as I get my medical taken care of, you know, the money's really not an issue. You know, it's just based around, you know, getting my medicine and being seen by the doctors. That's a real concern of mine.
I hear that.
Yeah, you got, because one single hospital stay could be $100,000. So if they are not covering that or taking care of you in that way, that could literally break you financially.
Golly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so I can relate to that.
So now,
Yeah.
up until this past October, have you had some good interactions with the VA, or how has that been working out? You know, I'm talking about all kinds of different benefits like GI Bill, and you had been accepted to an MBA program, and of course medical stuff too.
Oh yeah, as far as the GI Bill went, I had a great counselor who helped me out through everything. She was practically holding my hand through it all,
Nice.
all the way until I got into my career. So she was really there to guide me. So, you know, I give nothing but thanks to her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But as far as the I guess the hospital portion of it, that's where things got a bit complicating and hazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
very much so.
the treatment, yeah, the like once you go to the hospital, the treatments they're so far in between, or they like for instance, if I ended up getting hurt, it'll take me a day before I even got the prognosis or whatever the problem actually was, or if I had to do X-rays, it would take me a week before I get an X-ray done to see if I broke anything. So it's kind of like, are you serious? Like usually, if you go to a regular doctor, you get seen and taken care of right there on the spot.
Yep.
So that's where that went, you know. But I started the Vet Doc series initially because of the problem that we were having transitioning. Because back in the day, around the time that I got out, it was difficult for soldiers like myself as a combat vet to transition into civilian life. Like I got accepted to Penn State, and they were looking at me like I was a nut. But this is just, yeah.
Why is
They were
that?
like,
Is that just due to like paperwork and whatnot, or just the
No, it was
reception of
just
veterans?
because I had that grunt mentality all the way around, you know. So it was just like, I'm gonna get it done, and if you can't help me, get out of my way.
Yes.
This is gonna happen.
People
you know?
hate that. People hate that mindset. I get that all the time. It's
But
like,
it's effective.
I know, get the job done. What's wrong with thinking like that?
Yeah, I mean, I met some cool people along the way, and once they understood me, and once they felt out my personality, they were like, yeah, this is actually a real cool guy. Like,
Yes.
okay, he's been through some stuff. We'll give him that, but he's actually a cool guy, you know?
Yes. So now, Vet Doc series. When you got out, you started this. How busy have you been since the last time we talked to you? Because it's been roughly 2 years when we talked to you about Vet Doc series.
Yeah, well, I mean, what ended up happening was, once I was pushing through the Vet Doc series, and everybody that I was working with, we were all in undergrad school at the time, and little by little, I started losing my crew because of, you know, basically just the education.
Just life takes
we
over.
need. Yeah, so it was just like, hey, you know, this is a great idea and this is a great thing, but I'm getting sent here for this education, or I have to do this for this, you know. So over time, I lost the crew, and it was just myself. But I still have to drive, and it was me and Adam, which he's still working with me, even though he's in Texas.
Oh wow.
You know, yeah. So he's actually come down to New York to film with me from Texas, which is awesome.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So we have a good time every time he comes around.
Oh, that's excellent. So now the stories that you were trying to capture, you know, before you know life happened and took your crew to the wherever they took your crew.
Yeah.
You know, you had mentioned in the email that you kind of found your direction of where you want a Vet Doc series to go into. Can you give us a little shed some light on that?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so initially it was based around, you know, just the transitioning phase of veterans, but after interviewing with so many soldiers and vets, without actual paperwork, a lot of these stories just sound like movies, and I'm just like, I can't believe this. I'm sorry, you know, show me some paperwork.
Yeah.
You know, so over time, I was just interviewing people all the way until this occurred, where I was declared dead by the VA.
Mm-hmm.
And once I was declared dead by the VA, you know, at first, the very first letter that I received, I thought it was a joke. I was like, this is funny, you know. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
This is hilarious. Yeah. And then when I received, like, I showed my girlfriend, and she was like, just keep an eye on this. And I'm like, this is hilarious, you know.
It was unbelievable.
I received the second letter the very next day, and then I was like, holy crap, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And then and she was I send her a video message, and I was like, hey, so I received this, and I have no idea what's going on. And that was the very first video that I put up. It was an actual message that I sent to my girlfriend, and she was like, please tell me you called them. You know?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So.
So just to recap this for all the audience members, like Carmelo, a couple of years ago, as you were, a couple of months ago in October, Carmelo received this letter from the VA stating that he was deceased, and the impact. Imagine this real quick. Just imagine this real quick. The impact that administratively, you're with the deceased. You know, you can't use your credit card. The Social Security Administration. And like the gravity of the whole situation baffles my mind. And what's even more baffling is the fact that this has happened to thousands of veterans. Oh my gosh.
How many?
The last 5 years.
42?
200 for the last 5 years, yeah.
Dude. And that's what they're admitting to. There's probably more out there.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for instance, in my case, you know, I'm a federal law enforcement officer. That's what I do, you know, on a day-to-day basis. This is my career.
Yeah.
Outside of doing the filming, so the impact is insane. I had to go to the legal office where I work at, and you know, explain to them what's going on, and the severity of the situation, and they were blown away. They were like, "No way, this is crazy."
That's a pretty good question.
Yeah.
Your employer, the Department of Justice, did they ever like get any kind of notification from third party administrators like Social Security or the VA or anything like that? Or were you the one who broke the news to them? Hey, guess what? I'm dead.
Yeah, I had to actually explain to them the situation because I received notice from the IRS stating that I was being put under investigation for identity theft. Because because the person that I'm using my social or whatever, this person has been deceased since last year. So I was like, holy crap.
Wow. You know, I was talking about this situation with my dad a couple of weeks ago. When I first found out about this, you know, I contacted you, and then I was just, you know, call my parents every so often, and I was talking about this situation, and he laid it out in a metaphor that was actually really funny. You remember, not back in the day so much, but like before all the mental health clinics were closed down in the 80s by Ronald Reagan, you know, people would like, how do you, oh my God, I'm starting to freak out thinking about all this stuff right now. How do you convince someone that you're not crazy when they've got you in a straitjacket?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you convince someone that you're still alive? I'm standing here, breathing, talking at you, looking you eye to eye, but you're looking at a computer screen or a piece of paper that says I'm dead. I'm right here.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Oh, man. Oh, man. So I want to talk a little bit more about this, but I also want to hear about Battle Scar Apparel and, well, I mean, we're already talking about this. Let's just keep going for it.
Yeah.
What did your employer, what was their course of action?
They laughed. They thought it was hilarious, and they were like, honestly, and they were like, you know what? Just keep us in the loop, but we have nothing to do with this. So if we get any media, it's going right over to their department. We don't want to.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was so funny. But you know, I did end up going to the IRS office. I ended up going to the SSI office. You know, I hit all of these agencies, and I went in person because they were like, if you want it taken care of, you have to come in person to identify yourself. So after bringing, and it's crazy because, you know, you would think that, you know, having your Social Security card and your state ID was enough.
Right.
But I had to bring my social, my state ID, my federal ID, my military ID, DD-214. I had to bring every bit of information that says, hey, this is really me.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And then it's crazy because once, like, they looked at me like I was crazy all the way until I stated, hey, I'm one of you guys. I'm a federal law enforcement officer.
Nice.
And I pulled out my creds, and they were like, "Holy crap!"
Then they realize.
And then they realized, oh, this is a real bad situation, And I was like, hey, this is what I do for a living. What am I supposed to do about this? And they were like, oh man, yeah, we're gonna try to fix this, And even though they said that they were gonna try to fix it and everything else, it took so long before anything got done, before anybody actually contacted me. So I was out of the loop for months at a time.
Oh my God.
It was so hard to deal with, and I'm still going through it. I mean, things are moving along little by little, but it's still, it's still hard. Like last semester, I had to drop out of my MBA program because of the student loan issue.
Oh my God. Yo, hold that thought. Hold that thought real quick. We're going to go to our top of the hour commercial break. Stick around because the commercial break is going to take about 5 or 6 minutes. This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're online with Carmelo Rodriguez out of New York. He is a former scout in the infantry, and the VA has declared him dead. But I assure you all, we're talking to him. He's living and breathing. This is a weird situation, man. We're going to get to the bottom of this. This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We'll be right back.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
CBS News, I'm Pam Coulter. An iconic part of American entertainment is ending.
Please enjoy and celebrate the greatest show on earth one last time. Thank you.
The final performance of the Ringling Brothers Circus is underway at the Nassau Coliseum outside New York City. Kathy Morris, director of the Barnum Museum in Connecticut.
Interestingly, I've been studying P.T. Barnum for almost 20 years, and he probably would look and say, it's about time. It's time to change.
Kenneth Feld of the parent company Feld Entertainment said while he is melancholy, the final shows are a celebration and there is a love for the circus that will never die. President Trump tried to rally the Muslim world to redouble efforts to combat terrorism today. In a speech in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, he said extremism is holding back the full potential of the Mideast.
You can only unlock this future if the citizens of the Middle East are freed from extremism, terror, and violence.
President Trump's next stop is Israel.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the people of Israel will welcome President Trump with open arms. He said talks will focus on building security ties and advancing the peace process with the Palestinians. But one cabinet minister warned that Mr. Trump's huge arms deal with Saudi Arabia could harm the long-term security interests of Israel. Robert Berger, CBS News, Jerusalem.
Former Indiana governor, now Vice President Mike Pence, got a chilly reception as he spoke at Notre Dame's commencement today. Dozens of graduates and family members stood and silently walked out. Pence was invited after students and faculty protested the prospect of President Trump being asked to deliver the commencement address. North Korea is confirming what it says was a successful launch of a medium-range ballistic missile. CBS's Adriana Diaz in Beijing says the tests are rattling the neighborhood.
Just last week, they tested an advanced missile technology, an intermediate-range missile that was its farthest reaching yet. At full capacity, that missile could have reached the U.S. territory of Guam in the Pacific. So far, they have not tested a longer-range missile that could reach the continental United States, but they say they have that technology in the works and they are very close to testing it.
In Warwick, Rhode Island,
Eugene Avalez, 21, from Burlington, Massachusetts.
The names of 100 people killed in 2003's Station nightclub fire were read at the opening of a memorial park in Warwick, Rhode Island. Hundreds gathered to remember victims, including more than 200 people who were injured when fireworks used by the band touched off the blaze.
Fall River, Massachusetts.
This is CBS News.
I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, where you can get the world's most comfortable sheets for less than half of what you'd pay in the store. Our sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and get softer over time, Even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Good afternoon. You're listening to AM 1080 KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1340 KOMY La Selva Beach, FM 104.1, and now on 107.9 in San Jose. Also on KSCO.com, ZBSRadio.com, and also on YouTube at KSCO Global. It's 5:04, a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Hope everyone's had a fantastic weekend. Let's take a quick look at your weather and traffic. I'm Jason Struby. Highway 1 here in the Santa Cruz Aptos corridor, still well below the limit, approaching 41st Avenue, although things starting to improve there. Actually, looks like things are almost back to normal. 1 to Santa Cruz. Southbound speed's also looking good, at least till you get to Moss Landing. A little bit of backup there, especially just past the harbor. Northbound speed's heavy from the Castroville cutoff, almost to Salinas Road. Highway 1 northbound heavy into Sand City, coming out of Monterey. 68 looks good. 101, still a parking lot northbound all the way from Prunedale to almost Gilroy. And again, approaching Morgan Hill, 5 miles an hour, pretty much the whole way. 17 northbound also still a parking lot. Crawling before you even get to Scotts Valley. Really no relief until the Summit Road, and then from there, you'll slow down again once you get to the Lex. 5 miles an hour from there to the Cats, showing an accident just before town. Clear skies tonight, a few passing clouds, a low near 53 degrees. Tomorrow, like today, sunny with highs in the mid-70s here on the coast. It's 5:06 at KSCO, time for Hour 2 of the Veterans Take Charge radio show with your hosts, Justin Baker and Dave Ramos.
The Veterans Take Charge radio show. There we are. I can hear myself now. So for those of you who are just now joining us, we have got Carmelo Rodriguez, former infantry scout, former scout of the United States Army, a couple of deployments. Now, oh my God, this whole time my mind has been going a million miles an hour. That's the whole reason I've been tripping up over my words, because it's so mind-blowing and so baffling. So once again, for those of you who are just now joining us, in October this past year, Carmelo received an erroneous notification of death from the VA. His family got information, notification, and final checks. His like college creditors who he was going to school with started contacting his family saying, "Hey, your son is dead. We are very sorry to hear that, but he also owes us a lot of money. So now you guys owe us a lot of money." You know, Carmelo, you still with us, yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, this is freaking mind-blowing, because check this out. I'm thinking about this now. You know, you get out of the military, and you're trying to do the right thing for yourself, for your community. You have an organization. You've got a vet doc series. You've got a documentary series for veterans transitioning from military to the civilian life. You've got Battle Scar Apparel. You're running your business. You've got a clothing line. You're a Department of Justice employee. You're a law enforcement guy. You're doing the right thing. You're working, and all of a sudden, like, life halts because someone messed up and said that you're dead.
Like New York City traffic, just complete stop.
So scope this out. Between 2011 and 2015, over 4,200 veterans have been wrongfully declared dead by the VA. I did a little bit of digging into this. So apparently, the Social Security Administration are the ones who issue out these notifications. So the Social Security office tells the VA, hey, we got wind this dude's dead. So the VA is supposed to, and not only the VA, every organization is supposed to have checks and balances to be like, yo, we should look into this. But apparently in the case of like 4,201 veterans, that didn't happen. So now I'm very glad to know that you have got Vet Doc Series and Battlescar Apparel and you've got your 9-to-5 job, because there's a grip of veterans out there that don't have that. There's a grip of veterans out there that are living paycheck to paycheck. And when your disability check doesn't come in, when your GI Bill check doesn't come in, all of a sudden I can't pay my bills. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to lay this out for you guys right quick. All right. From 2012 to right here, right now, I've been living off of my VA stuff. I've been living off my disability and my check. And the amount of money that they give, I'm very grateful. But the cost of living in this area is not enough. I'm in some pretty significant debt. You know what I'm saying? So if I got a call that said, hey, you're dead, we're going to give your check, your final check to your family, like, my life would be freaking upside down and up a creek. You know which creek I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh, so I'm gonna take some deep breaths now.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay. This drives me out of my mind. So now, your employment, they were like, okay. Oh my god. I'm still reeling from this situation.
And the fact that there's 4,200 others we could be talking about too.
Yeah.
It seems like Carmela, like, you were just kicking way too much tail out there in the real world. And so they needed to, like, slow you down a bit or something. I mean, you've got so much good stuff going on that something like this was bound to happen just so you couldn't become a billionaire too fast, you know?
Yeah.
So before we start talking about the impacts, before we continue to talk about the impacts, let's talk a little bit about how your businesses are going. So Vet Doc Series, it's still a work in progress. You know, the crew has kind of shrank down, but you're still doing work. What about Battlescar Apparel? How's that going?
Battlescar Apparel was it was almost just like an idea at first, because while I was doing the Vet Doc Series, I was wearing my brand just to kind of get people to see, hey, what is that kind of thing, you know? And over time, I put a name on it, and then it wasn't until I actually all of this started happening that I was like, this is actually perfect, because it's crazy, but I try to look at the positive in everything.
Yo, hunt the good stuff.
Know?
I hear that.
Like, yes, and I'm like, this is a perfect scenario, because the brand that I was putting together is based on, you know, I guess like veterans who are going through struggles, or just people in general who are going through real struggle in life and are pushing to get through it. You know what I mean? So it's like my brand is like motivational quotes, or just like, fight, come on, let's do it. You know what I mean? So it's one of those kind of brands. So once I put this blog up and I started putting everything together, I started wearing my clothing line so people can see, hey, this is a new thing. It's, you know, it's stylish. It's happening now, kind of thing. You know.
I can definitely dig that, and I really like the message behind it. You know, the underlying current of we've all gone through stuff and we wear our scars. You know, some of us wear our scars with pride. And Battlescar Apparel, it definitely sounds up that alley. You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, and then as far as the vlog goes, it's awesome that once I put up the first video, I started getting feedback from lawyers saying, hey, you know, I'm interested in what's going on. I put up the second vlog, and then Senator contacted me.
Really?
Yeah, so things actually started moving along, and I started to realize that once you go public with it, and you have a voice, and you are a person to them, it changes. You're no longer a number. Now you're an actual person in a real situation.
Do you credit that to being like a public figure, or just the fact that you're persistent and you wanted to get this done?
I would say a little bit of both. You know, like I want to get it done like immediately, but at the same time, I want to show people how to get it done if this ever happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Or, if a veteran is going through something difficult, I want to be able to put it on film and be like, hey, I'm going to show you how to get through it.
Nice.
Carmelo, for me, the VA, I look at them as enemies. They're my enemy because my case has been 11 years, and I'm still not on paper. They have me as 180%, but they're paying me at 90, which is half of that, and that's just the way they do their math. I'm actually at 94%.
How do you do your math? I'm just never mind.
180 equals 180. That's how I do my math, and that's what it says on paper. 180. But they pay me at 90, and it's been hurdle after hurdle and hoop after hoop I've had to jump through. You know what I mean? Just one thing after another. And I look at them as my enemy because I cannot look at them as a partner or as a friend because they've done more harm than good in my case. And I know a lot of veterans out there feel that way, And what you're doing by documenting this is you're going to create a permanent shortcut for anybody that gets put through this exact problem. You're going to be able to show them, like, look, this is what I had to do. From the first notification you get, this is the step you need to take, And so, in a sense, what you've done by doing the vet documentary series, I mean, you have made yourself a public figure, And ultimately, this radio show was kind of founded on the fact the owner of the station heard my story with the VA, and he was like, well, we've got to do something about it. Let's give you a voice. And then I just happen to know Dave, who he just eats up broadcasting. He loves it, and he's kicking ass on it. So I brought in the best partner ever, and it just went from there. But now we're getting hit up by senators and stuff like that. People are like, hey, there's a senator over here who wants to talk to you. Or people that are running for Congress or Senate want to hang out with us and get our ear, get our attention, get on our show if they can. And so on the opposite side of the country from where you're at, we're kind of doing a little bit different method, but we're having the same results, and it's starting to work. So what you're doing is working over there. What we're doing is working over here, and we just got to plug everybody in.
Yeah, man. The fact of the matter is, like, Carmelo, you're the tip of the spear in this situation, because, again, this has happened to a grip of people. And I started looking at different articles, and the articles were like, yeah, this happened to this veteran, and that was about it. But you're the tip of the spear with trying to get this thing, a method to fixing this situation,
Yeah.
Hey, brother, I got a question. Are you down with taking some phone calls?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, outstanding. Good. 831-479-1080. 1080 is the number to call the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're online. We're talking with Carmelo Rodriguez, who the VA erroneously declared dead. Carmelo has got a documentary series. Everybody should go check out adeadman.com. adeadman.com. And it's your vlog site talking about exactly the impact of this kind of stuff. And it's I'm glad that you're doing this, dude. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm glad that you're doing this because this is something that can very well help thousands of veterans. The Social Security Administration erroneously, apparently, wrongfully, not accuses, what's the word? Wrongfully declares like 9,000 people dead a year, right? And roughly half that, is veterans.
Which is insane. How is that possible? Those numbers, those statistics just do not add up.
Jeez Louise. All right, let's get some phone calls on the line. Let's talk to Nick. Welcome to the Veterans Take Charge radio show, Nick.
Hey, you're really turning it up.
That's the plan, man.
Otherwise, we're just sinking into the cracks like we're taking it on the chin, even as a civilian. I got two stories, and I got a question evolved out of those stories because in those stories, I'm asking you, have you ever come across those stories? And the first one is Hometown Heroes. I heard last night. I heard a 99-year-old World War II vet, and they had telegrammed his mom twice in the same day, that week that he was killed, and then the next day it was mistaken error, and then the next day he was killed. The next day it was mistaken. That was you can catch that online. The next one, Vietnam veteran told me when he'd been on the north side with the Navy, and he came back and he flied. They threw him in the mental hospital, because they said he was dead. And he's got certificates that say he's dead, he says. And so it took a superior to actually come and get him out. So I'm going to be listening. I enjoy what you're saying.
Roger that. Thank you very much, Nick.
All right.
That's exactly what you were describing earlier. Is you're telling them, you're explaining, no, this is me. I'm alive. You guys have it wrong, and they're like, this guy's a lunatic. He thinks he's Carmelo Rodriguez.
Carmela, have you ran across any other stories of situations, veterans in your situation?
No, actually, I haven't. That's why I thought this was neat to put up.
I've heard of a couple, and it's interesting because I posted this stuff on Facebook, and out of the woodworks, people are like, "Yo, I know somebody that happened to," or "Hey, check this article out." And a couple of articles really struck a chord with me. Two in particular. One of which this wasn't a veteran, but it was a student who was declared dead, and all of a sudden her school stuff all stopped. Her father had passed away, and she was on the death certificate as like an informant or something like that. And when they read it, they misread it, and they put her name as being declared dead. And so all of her stuff stopped. All right. So that's not necessarily a veteran, but it's along the same lines. Now scope this out. This is a veteran. Danny Dunn in Lexington, Kentucky. Danny Dunn ended up in the hospital for whatever reason, and the VA employees. Justin might see the VA. You might see the VA as the enemy. I see them as a potential ally with their own agenda.
I would like to get to that point. Once they do the right thing, I'll let them be my friend again.
In July of...
It depends on the department.
There you go. Yeah, I hear that.
It does. I had no problems with the GI Bill. It worked flawlessly for me.
Perfect.
And that was $2,000 a month. It paid my rent every month. I was able to be a full-time student. It was awesome.
There you go.
But every other department that I've dealt with has failed me aside from that, so...
So scope this out. January 2014, Danny Dunn ends up in the hospital. And the personnel at the hospital contacted his wife and said, "Hey, we regret to inform you, Danny passed away. He's moved on. So we're gonna let you say your separation, say your goodbyes and whatnot." And so of course she's heartbroken. She goes in to the room where he's at, and the dude's got a blood pressure, he's got a pulse, he's not dead at all. As time goes on, she's like, "Hey, can you open your eyes?" Sure, he opens his eyes. "Hey, can you squeeze my hand?" Sure. Dude, human error bugs the crap out of me. Human error, man. There's so much revolving around human error. I mean, oh my God. This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're online with Carmelo Rodriguez, who is very much alive. We got some more phone calls. Brother, thank you very much for being here, man.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Stick around. We're going to take some more phone calls. We're going to finish your story up, and hopefully we're going to get some understanding of what can be done to prove you're alive. Oh, man. Take charge now.
Hi, this is Nina Simon from the Ma, and I am thrilled to invite you to meet me in Abbott Square, a new community plaza in downtown Santa Cruz with 6 restaurants and 2 bars.
It's a place for me to perform.
And for me to dance.
To bring my family.
To meet my friends.
It's everything you love about the Santa Cruz Museum of Art and History, outside, admission free. Abbott Square opens in downtown Santa Cruz June 2nd through 9th with a week of igniting, exciting themed festivals each night. Learn more at abbottsquare.org.
It is amazing to watch the drive-by media.
Rush.
Ever since Comey's firing, the media have changed the story from Russia-Trump collusion, because there isn't any evidence of that, and they know it, to now Trump doing a cover-up. The crime is that Trump is president. I also think that there's something else going on with a great sense of desperation, and that is to save the legacy of Barack Obama.
Rush Limbaugh, 9 to noon, weekdays, right here on KSCO.
This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're online with Carmelo Rodriguez. Everybody should go check out adeadman.com and scope out his vlog, because it illustrates what has happened with being wrongfully declared dead and the impact thereof. Once again, man, if you were here, I'd give you a high five. You down for another phone call?
Yeah, sure.
Game on. Colonel Terry, welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge radio show.
Well, gentlemen, you're doing well. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, on the Zach Friend connections, that at and about.
Say that one more time.
The meeting with Zach Friend, or the presentation he and other politicos were conducting on democracy.
Uh-huh.
You were discussing that earlier in the program.
We were.
And was Friend defending the level of democracy in Santa Cruz County?
Not necessarily Santa Cruz County. I mean, of course, that's his constituency, but it was more of a broad, generalized conversation.
Well, okay, I want to come back to Carmine, but first of all, I've watched Zach Friend lie to groups of citizens on the Aptos Village project, among others.
I've heard bad things about that project. I've heard there's going to be a bunch of land grab going on, and they're going to be throwing people out to build on it.
I've actually heard him being referred to as Zach, not our friend, more often than not. Not from my mouth.
It's tragic and sad, but he's totally in the pocket of the greedy developers.
Yeah.
As is all the county supervisors. We don't have an effective democracy. And I'll be happy to provide lots of the evidence. But I'm not the only person who's watched Friend lie and has got the evidence. And it's sad. He's not working for the people who elected him. That's also a failure of democracy.
Yeah, I have heard very, very similar things. Both Zach Friend and Sam Farr have agreed to be on the Veterans Take Charge radio show. So when that happens, hopefully they're going to be very
participate.
Hopefully they're going to be very in tune with phone calls.
One of the most ineffectual, least effective, most disrespected by other Democrats in Congress.
I went to him for my second appeal against the VA, which would have been my third time through the medical board type of system. And his guy told me I was going to sue. I was looking for lawyers to sue the VA. And this was in 2009. And his local guy said, well, don't start a lawsuit, because if you do that, your case gets held up throughout the entire court proceeding, which could be 3 to 5 years. He said, let me get you squared away. Give me 90 days. And this is Sam Farr's guy who's repping Sam Farr here in Santa Cruz. And I said, okay, you have 90 days. Get my case closed. 120 days go by with no notification, and finally I get a 10% bump in my disability compensation, which I should have gotten 80%, but they bumped it up 10, which is the lowest possible amount that they can bump you up at a time. So basically, for me, they did the least possible amount and progressed me the least possible amount that they could. Also, on Sam Farr's last campaign brochure, I saw North American Union printed across the bottom, which to me means he wants to take America into a situation like the European Union.
Right.
And I don't like that. To me, that's almost like I'm about to commit treason right in front of your face.
Right. Now, I took stuff to his staff to help people that needed it and well deserved it. And of course, I've got lots of experience in Washington. I know how simple this was to do. It was as simple as rolling over a log, and his people couldn't get it coordinated.
Yeah.
Several items. He was absolute, and his colleagues on Capitol Hill, they considered him like useless.
Wow.
He'd leave early in the week to come back to California. He'd miss meetings, committee meetings, and they were never going to make him, even though he had seniority, never make him chairman of anything. All right, enough said there.
Roger, got it.
Good riddance to Sam. Is useless, absolutely useless in Congress.
What about Carmelo? Let's talk about Carmelo.
You had something you wanted to say to Carmelo.
All right, Carmela. Is it Carmilla?
Carmelo.
Carmelo, you have my sympathy dealing with the VA making mistakes. I am not surprised. It's because their recruiting is so bad for their administrative, civilian talent, administrators. But in addition to that, in Washington departments, they have the lowest score and requirements on the aptitude test for federal employment. That's part of their problem. They also have lots of buddy-buddy hiring. Family members, 3 generations deep, working at the same VA facility, administrators. There are no quality control standards for the work. Nobody's held accountable, as we well know. Not only in the seeing patients, they're not held accountable when they screw up processing paperwork.
That's pretty.
Or for me, they like to send me other veterans' pharmaceuticals, and if I'm not paying attention, I take my medicine not intravenously but subcutaneously, injections.
Yeah.
I almost injected the wrong drug under my skin because they sent me some other vet's prescription and it came in the same packaging and the same delivery system.
Wasn't it expired too?
No,
Or is that a
they've
different
also sent me expired medication as well, or sent me home with a garbage bag full of expired stuff. But I literally almost injected another veteran's medication under my skin because I had gone like 2 or 3 days without my meds. By the time the VA got me my next shipment, I was like in need. I was starting to break down, and so I was rushing the process, not paying attention, kind of zoned out because my brain was shutting down because I didn't have my medicine. And I literally busted the syringe out, and I almost freaking injected myself with some drugs that I don't even need. And then my girlfriend at the time was like, "Hey, this has someone else's name on it," and I was like,
Holy
"What?"
cow.
Yeah, I could have died. I mean, I don't know what that, with the other meds that I'm on, like, what is the reaction within my body of that, But it almost happened. Would have been my mistake, but it's...
A serious president or politician or several senators have to absolutely, top to bottom, require the VA be reconsidered, reconfigured, evaluated, and if necessary, throw out the people who are useless there and hire only competent people, or farm it all out to private hospitals entirely. I'm getting very much in favor of that.
Privatization?
Yeah, the only thing I would bother to go to the VA for is aspirin.
They'd probably give you the wrong drug.
On a bit of humor on this, in my Vietnam era generation, there was a fantastically popular Playboy magazine short story at the height of the Vietnam War. And the plot is there's these two guys who are in high school together and they're rivals. And the one guy, more dominant and bigger, is always physically and emotionally picking on the smaller guy. 5 years after high school, they're both in Vietnam. The smaller guy, as a private administrative type, he's dealing with body bag processing. And the other fellow's a lieutenant and a real prick and disliked by troops he's got and so forth. And he...
Oh no. What happened? Oh, no. Colonel Terry. I don't know what happened.
Colonel Terry, call us back.
Oh, man. Well, while we're waiting for Colonel
We
Terry.
lost the call right there.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that. 831-479-1080. Carmelo, I got a question for you, man. So we're talking about earlier, hopefully you heard earlier, we were talking about democracy. Is there hope for democracy? And one of the aspects of democracy is that we, as the American people, vote for our elected representatives who are supposed to advocate on our behalf. They're supposed to have our back in the big grand scheme of things for American democracy, for the government. And now, have you had said that congressmen had gotten to you, and have you had any kind of interface with your senator, your legislators, or your Congress personnel in New York about this situation? Being that,
as far as
go ahead.
As far as everything went right now is just via email. As soon as the vlogs went up, that's when it was like, hey, contact us so we can try to figure out how to fix it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as that goes. So it's been emails back and forth. Nothing has ever. We haven't sat down and actually spoke in person about anything.
Man, oh man.
What would happen if you went in with your video camera and made it a part of the veteran documentary series? You go into your congressman's office and you get it on film.
I've actually tried to get into a couple of places. Like I went to the VA once at one point. You're gonna see it on my vlog. And as soon as I got in, the VA police was like, "Hey, you can't have that. You got to get out." I was like, "Oh, okay."
You remember that situation with Chris Dorsey? That's probably exactly why.
Yeah, they don't want us getting it on film. That way we can't film their mistakes.
Exactly. Hey, let's get Colonel Terry back on the line. Sorry about that, sir. I don't know what happened. I'm going to blame
Anyway, this Playboy magazine short story of the mid-1960s, late 60s, has the fellow who's been abused by the lieutenant. The lieutenant goes out of town from Saigon, and the fellow who's doing processing of body bags sends in a bag with the lieutenant's name, numbers, and everything else on it.
Oh, snap.
The Army's going to cut off the lieutenant's paycheck everything else, okay? And it's going to take him months to get corrected. So when Carmelo was mentioning his scenario, I thought of this 1969 funny magazine, which seemed to be humorous and clever then.
Maybe one of Carmelo's privates that he used to make do too many push-ups got a position where he could affect that kind of paperwork.
Yeah, okay, good. Anyway, Carmelo, I hope you've got it straightened out. This ought to hit national front page attention. Vets incorrectly being declared dead by the incompetent, uncaring, asleep at the switch VA administrative clerks and their executives.
We got to drain the swamp.
Correction. Again, it's more than mandated. You got to get Jimmy Panetta to make it a cause celeb.
It wouldn't hurt to reach out to him. I mean, he's somewhat accessible.
Yeah, demand Panetta put it in the public record and call for hearings on it.
That would be a great thing to put him to work on.
Yeah. Exactly. We need him working. Anyway, Carmelo, I hope everything's working out fine for you now.
Oh yeah, I'm getting through it.
Good. All right, hang in there.
Thanks, Colonel Terry.
Proud and steadfast, sir. I'm looking for Jimmy Panetta. Here we go. So I want to read out a couple of names and a couple of phone numbers, just FYI, for you, Carmelo, as well as everybody else. Because when situations like this happen, situations that are life-altering, quite literally life-altering, we can do so much, but on our own, we can only do so much. So we have to enlist the help of the individuals who we voted into office to have our back. So now you had mentioned you've been in contact with some of your senators, your Congress people. Who? Just out of curiosity. We gotta crank his volume up, dude. Are you still with us, Carmelo?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
Oh, there we go.
Let me.
Who have you been in contact with? Just out of curiosity.
I'm trying to get the volume up over here on mine. Too.
Okay. Well, Steve Gore, Chainsaws for Charity, one of our battle buddies, he has given us a little bit of information, as well as Mary Salzano, who has given us some information, contact information for personnel who should have your back. And the 9th Congressional District for New York, I believe, Yvette Clark, her number is 202-225-6231. I'm going to post this stuff on Facebook later on after the show. Also, Chuck Schumer. Everybody should know who Chuck Schumer is. He's the New York senator who's also doing stuff with, just look up Chuck Schumer. 202-224-6542. And
that number sounds familiar.
Oh, there you go. Good.
Yeah.
And what about Secretary Shulkin? David Shulkin, the Secretary of the Veterans Administration. David.Shulkin@va.gov. That's one email to start blowing up. And I'm not talking to just Carmelo. I'm talking to everybody. 202-461-7000. That's the Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary David Shulkin. David.Shulkin@va.gov. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm kind of surprised that more people have not been bending over backwards to help you out with this.
Yeah, I would think.
Right?
I would. Yeah, I would think so, but I don't know. The story sounds so crazy that it's hard to actually believe. That's one of the reasons why when I started vlogging, I started hiding my personal information. I started putting actual documents of what's happening, step by step. This is the paperwork that I had to do with this. This is the paperwork that I received. So people can see, that this is really happening. And this is the paperwork that you have to go through. And these are the steps that you have to take.
So I've seen on adeadman.com your vlogs. Do you have those? Is that something that's published, those documents that are published?
What do you mean?
Do you have those documents up on your website so people can see? I realize that's like sensitive information, but
yeah, I have all of the documents that are actually on the video. If anybody needs to see them, like as a picture, I can put it up as a picture just so they can get a better glimpse of what they're actually reading. But everything is in the video, step by step, what I'm going through, how I'm going through it, and how I'm fixing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to think, man, like lawyers and politicians and people should have your best interest in mind. Not only because you're law enforcement and a veteran, but like as an American citizen. This is something that it's just so wrong, man. The Social Security Administration is, from the stuff that I've gathered, of course, it might be biased news and fake news, all that bull crap. But like the VA is like, well, it's not exactly our fault because the Social Security Administration let us know that you're dead, and so now we told you that you're dead. But that still goes, and there's supposed to be checks and balances. There's supposed to be a fact-checking entity. As a matter of fact, the VA program Deathmatch, the VA program is called Deathmatch Program, that is supposed to ensure that the deaths that are being declared are rightful. Now,
well,
go ahead.
What ended up happening was, because I went to the Social Security office out here in New York City.
Oh, good.
To try to rectify what's going on, or whatever. So I sat there with them, and after 2 hours, the lady told me, she said, "Hey, the VA is the one who sent us this information." Yeah. So the VA send them the information stating that I was deceased. I ended up calling back to VA and saying, "Hey, this is what's going on again." They have me all over their charts, and they said that it was another veteran in another state who has died with my exact name.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy, at a VA hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, so everything happened at the VA, and all the information was pushed out from there.
Yo, that goes right back into that freaking human error. Yo, stand by, man. We're going for our last commercial break. This is the Veterans Take Charge radio show. We're talking with a dead man living, Carmelo Rodriguez. We'll be right back.
The Ebb and Flow River Arts Celebration is coming soon, Friday, June 2nd, for art making, dance, and fun on Cooper Street in downtown Santa Cruz. At 9 p.m., join the Night Walk along the San Lorenzo River, led by a jazz band, and see LED-lit aerial dancers and sculptures. Then, on June 3rd, flow into the Kinetic Art Parade at noon on the Riverwalk from Kaiser Arena to the Tannery Arts Center. A full day of family-friendly fun, dance, art, music, food, and celebration. Sponsored by KSCO, Santa Cruz County Bank, and Sutter Maternity and Surgery Center. Go to artscouncilsc.org. See you there.
Hello, everyone. This is Meg from Ben Lomond Market. Visit the meat department and see what they have on sale this week. Fresh oysters, $1.19 each. Cooked prawns, $14.99 a pound. Atlantic salmon, $9.99 a pound. Lobster tails, $8.99 a pound. Filet mignon, $17.99 a pound. Skirt steak, $13.99 a pound. Lamb loin chops, $13.49 a pound. And center cut pork chops, $3.99 a pound, just to mention a few. The meat department has a new product, made in-house, lamb sausage, seasoned with red wine and roasted peppers. It is a Sicilian-style sausage at $6.99 a pound. Big Joe in Produce has sweet treats at sweet prices. 1 pound box strawberries, $1.99 each. Pineapples, $2.49 each. Cantaloupes, $1.99 each. Whole seedless watermelons, $3.49 each. And red seedless grapes at $2.49 a pound. In organics, blackberries, blueberries, strawberries at $3.99 per container, plus much, much more. Thank you for shopping with us at Ben Lomond Market.
Proud, steadfast. Welcome back to the Veterans Take Charge radio show. Yo, I'm going to play devil's advocate right quick. So let's just say this could be an event of identity theft. Sony went through some identity theft. Office of Personnel Management, if y'all remember that, went through some significant identity theft. My medical records were stolen out of a freaking van. Oh yeah, and a copy of my medical records were stolen out of my freaking car on December 26, 2012, I think. So like, there's the possibility that this could revolve around like identity theft. Somebody's like, oh man, Jeez Louise. So this program, the deathmatch program, since its initiation, which I cannot remember exactly the year that it was initiated, and that's my bad for not writing that down, but it has arrested 382 people, made 382 arrests in relation to identity theft, as well as recovered over $40 million of benefits paid to people who didn't earn them, didn't deserve them, are not the veterans who those benefits have been allotted to. So, in my mind, this could be something like, let's just say Carmelo Rodriguez really is dead. And now there's an imposter showing up. You're like, yo, I'm really him. Pay me. You know what I'm saying? But that whole balloon just got popped before we went to the break, because you let us know that Carmelo Rodriguez, in a different state, did die in a VA hospital. But somehow you are the one who's receiving all this notification. Like, what's going on with him? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, so his benefits are still being paid to someone, and your benefits have been stopped.
Oh my God!
I bet you that's what's going on. I mean, one death certificate, one veteran loses benefits, right? I mean, so the wrong Carmelo lost benefits, and the other vet's benefits are probably still being paid.
Pension, gotta go.
Oh
right?
my God,
right?
man.
And then the what'd you say, 385 cases of fraud were discovered? Well, so 4,200 cases of veterans being identified as dead who aren't. So less than a 10% success rate properly identifying the fraud, you know?
Man. So, like, I want to know, how do we move forward? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is this is a very real situation. On one end, you could spin it like the VA is trying to kill people. The VA is not trying to not pay their beneficiaries. They're not paying the money that's due, you know. Over the course of time, you know, if you're 100% disabled over the course of like 30 years, or let's just say the rest of your life, you know, you're raking in all this money. But now 4,200 veterans are not raking in that money. You know, so they could be potentially saving. Like, I have a very love-hate relationship with the VA. Yeah, that's exactly right. Millions of dollars are not being paid out.
1,000 times 1,000 is a million. So there's 4,200.
You should be on the microphone talking about this. So damn it, I lost my train of thought. I would like to think, you know, there are VA employees. I actually know VA employees that are doing the right thing. When the VA is right, they're very right. Education benefits, home loan benefits, you know, even medical benefits. When it's right, it's right. But when it's wrong, it's not like, oh, let's just erase this mark and put in the right information. Or, oh, we sent you the wrong medication. Let's get that fixed quick, fast, and effective. When they're wrong, like, people light themselves on fire in the VA parking lot. And I'm not making that crap up. When they're wrong, people die. When they have a backlog and I can't get an appointment for 30 days, I'm going to go blow my brains out in the parking lot. That's where, like Colonel Terry was saying, you know, we got to dredge the swamp. We got to take all of these incompetent people. And yes, I do believe that with all of the good people working in the VA, there is a significant amount of incompetency that's resulting in human error that's getting people killed. That is unacceptable. That's why everybody should email David Shulkin. That is why you should call 202-461-7000 and be constructive with your criticism. Carmelo, what are your next steps, man?
Right now, my next steps are actually got in contact with a lawyer who was willing to take my case.
Outstanding.
I ended up I reached out to a bunch of people. People reached out back. I ended up talking with a legal advice for veterans, and they forwarded me to the lawyer that deals with crazy cases like this. And she was willing to accept my case, and she said that she's going to look into it more.
Nice.
To find out what are the moves that she needs to take. So it's things are moving along.
Good. You know, with those comments on Facebook, one of our battle buddies, he was like, dude, just walk in and take a DNA sample. You know, I mean, that in my mind, that makes perfect sense. You go in there, swab your cheek. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do match the person on file. You know, was that ever an option?
No, not really. I mean, I guess it's based off of the fact that I really do have like active credentials, you know. And yeah, so that kind of defeats all of that, because it's like, oh, well, you're actually in our paperwork right now, and you know you've been active on whatever that you're doing, you know, as a law enforcement officer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
that actually brings up a pretty interesting train of thought. In the event that an officer is killed in action, or just killed while they're an officer, like a heart attack or car accident or whatever the case, like what are the steps of your department to take care of that?
I really don't know. It goes right to the legal department. It goes. I guess the cases go to other officers, I would say. You know. So in that situation, that's between the department. You know?
I mean, the overarching theme that I'm getting is that something would happen immediately.
Yes, absolutely.
There we go. Interesting.
Absolutely, because I mean, like, there's, you know, crime never stops.
Yeah, right. I hear that.
Yeah, so you gotta pick it up and run with it. That's kind of just it.
Yeah. So now how long has this situation been going for you? How long have you been working on this thing?
I've been working on it since October 31st, 2016.
Man, happy Halloween.
So,
wait, did you dress up as a
right?
zombie that day? Just out of curiosity.
I did actually. I did. That's the. Me and my girlfriend, we were doing like dress up or whatever, and she painted me as a zombie. And we took pictures and everything. It's hilarious.
That's too good, man. That's too freaking good.
It's all over my Facebook.
So, oh man. So from that point on, I mean, you've been working on this situation for a good solid like 6-7 months. And this is going to sound really bad, but I really want to ask it. Are you feeling hopeful about this situation?
I am.
Good.
I really am, and I have to. Yeah, I almost have to take it with a bit of humor. You know, like, you know, with everything that's going on, you know, you got to look at it like it can always be worse, and this is gonna blow over, and you're gonna get through it, and you're gonna look back and be like, wow, that was crazy. You know, so. Yeah. I look at it as is, and I'm like, I'm still alive. You know, everything is. I'm still functional. I'm well. You know, so like, you gotta almost even in the hardest times, you just count your blessings and you just keep driving on, just keep moving forward.
Dude, I love that attitude, man. That's some optimistic hunt the good stuff right there.
I was gonna say we're all blessed that you have that attitude about it.
Straight up.
And some of our brothers that aren't quite as well put together as you right now, you know, they may not make it through a situation like this, but it's almost a blessing that you're the guy that it happened to, because you're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Well, we got a little bit less than 10 minutes left, man. Throw out some information. Where can people go to track what you're doing? Not only with a Dead Man, but Battle Scar and the whole nine.
I got the deadman.com. I got the Vet Doc Series channel on YouTube. So you guys can look at that, and I have all my videos on there. You know, if you go to my Facebook website, or if you go to Instagram or Twitter, I'm all over there on the Battlestar Apparel or a Vet Doc Series, and all of my information is all on there. They're all circulating within one another. So if you click on one, you're going to see everything.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Yo, man, I hope this turns out for the better. I really hope this turns out for the better. And it sounds like it is. I mean, again, you're the tip of the spear in this situation. And the fact that you have a voice, the fact that you have a documentary series, the fact that you are tracking this is beautiful and perfect, because I'm very curious, you know, those other 4,201 veterans between that 5-year period that this has happened to, you know, what was the result for them?
Yeah, what happened? You know, they don't push those stories out.
No.
So I looked online and I try to do as much homework as I can to figure out what happened, and you're not finding these stories anywhere.
I can't imagine why.
You know, and that's why I was like, this is going to happen. I'm gonna make this story happen.
Good. You know that the veterans want to tell their story if they've been through this. You know that the spouses of the veterans that didn't make it through it alive want to tell the story for them.
Yeah.
And I mean that could be a huge part of your veteran documentary series.
And I'll be there.
Oh man.
So I crunched some numbers, okay? And if each of the 4,200 veterans were at 100% disability, it would be a savings to the VA of $12,180,000 to let this type of behavior continue. That's how much they would have saved by doing what they've done from, what do you say, 2011 to now?
For just that 5-year period, they would have saved $12 million?
Yes.
So think about that if they just discontinued that for like 30 years or again for the rest of your life.
And even if they have to pay it out, so a veteran on 100% disability compensation, which there are many of us who deserve it and we're not getting it, and there are many of us who do have it, but at 30 years at $2,900 a month tax-free is $1,080,000 a veteran. So that's what each veteran would be worth over a 30-year period. So mathematically, it behooves them that we don't make it that long.
You know, something just occurred to me. And it's like, according to the Social Security Administration, they go through 2.8 million death reports annually, right? And that roughly that's 400,000 veterans that die annually, roughly. All right. So now I can almost, and again, playing devil's advocate here, I can almost understand why the administrations in charge are like, oh, that happened to that many people? Oh, well, whatever. Because it's like a fraction of a percentage.
Yeah.
But when you look down into the weeds, that's 4,201 people that their lives have literally been put on hold.
Yeah.
I want to see this blow up, dude. I want to see you blow up with this, pushing this information out. And like I'm kind of in the line with Justin, dude. Get like a body cam and go into your senator's office and be like, yo.
Right now my big thing is I want to push this so hard that I end up on the Ellen DeGeneres show.
Yeah!
You should. That would be awesome.
That's what I want. Yeah. That is what I want.
Hey, she's going to scare the crap out of you, right? No, dude, you're absolutely right, though.
Listening.
What's that?
So if she is listening, yes, I want to be on that show.
There you go. You heard it first, folks. You heard it first on the
So
Veterans
we need to
State
friend
Radio
her on
Show.
Facebook and shoot it to her Facebook page tonight.
You know what, Carmelo? That's a pretty darn good point and a good idea. Like, if I'm sure that Ellen DeGeneres would jump all over a situation like this, but then that ball could get rolling. Like, we've seen veterans who have done amazing stuff end up on CNN or Fox News. We've seen veterans who've gone through hell and high water end up on CNN, Fox News, but even more than that. You know what I'm saying? Dude, that's a real point. That's a real possibility. That just clicked in my mind.
Didn't Chris Dorsey get some big coverage in Georgia? I bet you he could help. And John Jackson too. He's been on media a lot. He's got a lot of media attention. They're in Georgia, but like if we linked you with them, they might be able to push you through to some people in the Atlanta area in the media industry.
Are you? This also just popped into my mind. Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. I'm pretty sure their headquarters is in New York. Have you
have to look into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever heard of the Veterans Party of America?
I don't know. I've heard of a lot. Since I've been doing this, I ran through so many clubs.
I believe that.
Yeah. I'm just like, wow.
Mark Wilder is one of the founders of the Veteran Party of America, and this is an organization it's a legit political party that's trying to put veterans in public office. The Veterans Party of America, that might be an amazing resource for you to get this blasted everywhere that it needs to be.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna look at that.
Ooh-wee.
I'm gonna look right into that.
Yo, brother. Thank you very much for being here on the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show, man. You are welcome back anytime, and as soon as progress rolls, I would love to hear how this thing turns out.
Oh yeah, thank you for having me.
Always, always, always. You got any last information push out to the crowd?
Just make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, Vet Doc Series, and like my apparel.
Too easy, man. Too easy. Hey, you know what? We got one more phone call. Stick on the line. Let's get this one phone call.
All right.
Yeah, we are talking to I don't know who we're talking to. We're talking to somebody. Welcome to the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. Oh, Struby's still talking to him. My bad.
We jumped the gun a bit.
Totally jumping the gun.
Plug him in, Struby.
Just do it, man. We'll go. We'll take this.
We got another phone call now.
All right, outstanding.
We got 1 minute. We don't have time.
That's all right. People want to talk. Let's do it. Struby, let's do it. Let's get him on. Oh, goodness.
Or not.
All right.
What are we doing?
Let's get our phone calls on. We got like a minute left.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm screening them.
They could be crazies.
It's not people you want to put on here.
Oh, roger that.
Okay. Yeah, there's some crazies to call into KSCO every now
Oh,
and then.
man.
Those are usually the exciting phone calls, though.
Ramos is jumping the gun once again. So is the baby. Hey, Carmelo. Once again, man, we're going to push everybody to adeadman.com. We're going to push everybody to check out Battlescar Apparel, and we're going to try and get as many eyes on your situation as possible, because your situation represents thousands of other veterans, and you happen to have the eyes on. You happen to have the voice, man. I'm freaking pumped for you. Not because this happened, but because of what you are doing about it and the attitude that you have.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys for having me.
Proud and steadfast, man. Thank you very much. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. We got a few seconds left, and we got a phone call from... Oh, it's a fire report. Struby, can I let you do that on the break? Unless you want to jump in right now and talk about a fire report?
I mean, it's not for the show.
Okay.
You know, people don't understand the right number to call.
Oh,
That's the
roger
problem. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I appreciate everybody who's trying to call the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show to give out your traffic tips and fire reports.
Yeah.
Yo, like I said, everybody, this is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show. Next week, we're going to have Greg Amundsen in studio with Joshua Montz in studio. And we're going to have a roundtable discussion about trauma, about rehabilitation, about working out. CrossFit saved Josh's leg, and it's because of Greg Amundsen. So I'm really looking forward to being able to push them all together. Yo, this is the Veterans Take Charge Radio Show this Sunday and every Sunday right here on AM 1080 KSCO.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
CBS News, I'm Pam Coulter. Capping off a 2-day visit to Saudi Arabia, President Trump appealed to Muslim leaders to enlist in the fight against terrorism. CBS's Stephen Portnoy in Riyadh.
In a markedly subdued tone, President Trump told the world's Muslim leaders he did not come here to lecture them. Instead, he made a business case that their countries will become more prosperous if they stamp out terrorism.
We can only overcome this evil if the forces of good are united and strong, and if everyone in this room does their fair share and fulfills their part of the burden.
More than 50 Muslim countries were represented, from Indonesia to the Ivory Coast, but Iran and Syria weren't invited. Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, with the president in Riyadh.
The president spoke a day after the re-election of Iranian President Hassan Rouhani, a reformer who worked out the nuclear deal with the U.S. and 5 other nations. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer in Tehran.
President Rouhani won the election because he'd promised his base, millions of young people, that he'd pursue an agenda of what he called engagement with the world. President Trump's speech sends a strong signal that America will do whatever it can to block that.
Tonight is the swan song for the Ringling Brothers Circus. The final performance is underway at the Nassau Coliseum in New Jersey and has been live streamed on the Ringling Brothers website. Brad Deitzer remembers the heyday of the circus.
When I worked for the circus, there were, and it wasn't that long ago, we still saw the excitement. You still saw people waiting when the train came in, when the elephants walked down the main street to the arena.
Parent company Feld Entertainment announced in January the circus would be folding up its tent after nearly 150 years, citing declining attendance and high operating costs. A wayward whale that was hanging around the Ventura Harbor in Southern California has finally found its way back to the ocean. Harbor Master John Higgins says they lured the 40-foot humpback whale back to the harbor entrance by playing whale feeding sounds all night.
It was a group effort in this area. We don't have a lot of resources, so everybody pitched in to help, and it was meaningful, and the end result is as good as we could have hoped for.
Aliens overtook Guardians at the box office this weekend.
I need you back here right now. I need you.
Okay, baby, just calm down, sweetheart. Calm down.
Tell me to calm down.
You're breaking up.
Alien Covenant nudged aside Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to take the top spot at the weekend box office. It opened with $36 million in ticket sales, about a third of what it cost to make and promote the movie. Guardians earned $35 million in its third week. This is CBS News.
I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, where you can get the world's most comfortable sheets for less than half of what you'd pay in the store. Our sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and get softer over time. Even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
A tennis star has reached out to a former great to get him out of a slump. CBS's Larry Miller.
Novak Djokovic will have a new coach.
I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Good evening. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz, KOMY Watsonville, KSCO.com, and streaming live on YouTube at KSCO Global. Check it out and subscribe. It's just past 6:06. We'll get a quick look at your traffic. Also, had a fire report late last hour. Thanks to Gordy, he called it in. Looks like above Bear Creek Road / just south of, I believe, Highway 35 area. We have a fire in progress. Sounds like it's been broken out for about an hour and a half. They have tankers and choppers swarming the area trying to get that contained right now. Looks like they're having a hard time with the ground access, especially due to the fact that Highway 35 is closed up there. So, if you're in the area, definitely be aware, be alert, and if they give you a warning, you might want to listen. So your traffic, Highway 1 northbound to Santa Cruz right now, things are traveling at the limit in the Santa Cruz Aptos corridor. Southbound speeds also looking good here in the area. Moss Landing is still stacked up, especially northbound there as you cross the bridge back to limit by Struve Road. Monterey County looks good on the 168 is open as well. 101 still very, very, very heavy northbound. If you're headed northbound 101, you're probably stuck in traffic somewhere between Crazy Horse and Highway 25. There's another round of a slowdown up the road there between San Martin and Morgan Hill back to the limit after you get out of town there. 85 looks good. 17 does not look good. Northbound 17, very, very heavy right now. Backed up from Scotts Valley basically all the way to Los Gatos. You'll pick up in speed a little bit as you approach the summit, but you're back to a crawl by Idlewild. An accident there in the northbound lane at the south tip of the Lex. 6:08 at KSCO. Up next is the very, very first episode, the world premiere of My 2 Cents with your host, Wes Holtz and company. KSCO Santa Cruz, stand by.
Welcome to My 2 Cents. I'm your host, Wes Holtz, and I'm sitting here with my very good buddy, Robert Matias. Welcome, Robert.
Hey, Wes. How you doing?
I'm fine. We are actually broadcasting on KSCO Global. That means your face is sitting up there on the radio, man.
That's right. KSCO AM 1080.
1080. You know what the call-in number is?
I'm not going to give it. Go ahead. I'll probably throw those numbers off there.
831-479-1080. 831-479-1080. Already choking at the beginning of the show.
That's okay, Wes.
Yeah. So I decided to create a new show all around stock trading investing.
Stock trading. This has been exciting.
And
we've been talking about this for a while.
Right, we have. We've been putting this together. Robert and I have been talking about this and getting things together. And it's basically for all of us that deal in stock trading to call and sit and talk about their successes, lessons, weaknesses, failures, and just basically to sit around and talk shop with all the buddies.
Hold on.
What?
We're also talking to the crowd out there that does not know a thing about stocks.
Right.
We're
gonna
talking
be
about people
lessons.
that want to learn, and I mean, we're not pros at this stuff.
By any means,
By any means necessary.
No, matter of fact, this show is only an entertainment show.
That's right.
We're just talking back and forth like we're sitting on the front porch drinking a beer.
That's right. And having knowledge as we go along.
Right.
Because we're learning.
Right. Absolutely.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I done pretty good actually since March.
I don't want to hear about
it. I know you don't want to hear about it. No, but first off, I want to mention that I want to thank all MZ that he has allowed this show to take off, and I appreciate that. We're going to talk about more of that at the end of the show.
Awesome.
A couple of things I wanted to bring up is that not only can you listen to us on KSEO.com, and obviously watch us on KSEO Global on YouTube, which really that part's new since I had my last show because I wasn't on video before, so it was easy to come in here, and if I didn't want to wear pants, I didn't have to. But
that's a site I don't want.
Right, so that's a little different since the last
maybe on
show.
The beach.
And then we're broadcasting on FM 104.1 and 107.9 over in the Silicon Valley in San Francisco.
Yes, sir.
So that's new too since I did my last show.
We are very bound.
Right. So today what we're going to talk about primarily is medical marijuana and the pesticide and fungus issue that has been brought out in the news. I don't know.
A lot of people don't know about that, Wes.
Yeah, it's an issue. And then one of the things that we're going to be doing also in this show is kind of showcasing a company. And then next week, the CEO is going to be on, so people can go and do their research all week long, come back, talk to the CEO.
That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be different,
That's
right?
gonna be awesome.
I don't know any other show that does that at all.
That means you got connections.
Right. Well, something. I'm not, But Amphil Technologies is going to be the company that we're going to be talking about after a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that, I don't know, about 4 or 5 months ago, I ran into a story in iReport out on NBC News down in Southern California where I read about pesticides being used in marijuana and that samples of all these different dispensaries were collected. They were sent off to a lab, and 93% of them had come back positive, and it just infuriated me. And I co-host on Flight 1080 every Fridays, and for a month straight, I think the poor guys there, Dave Michaels and Ben Picard, were just tired of me talking about it. I said, dude, just go get your own show and talk about it. I said, okay, not a problem. So in researching additional news reports and the pesticides issues and the Eagle 20, which is a pesticide that is consumable by ingesting, but you can't smoke it because it turns into hydrogen chloroform, or I don't know, one of the nasty ones that's actually contribute to somebody's death up in Northern California.
That's right.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit too.
We're going to talk about that a little bit too. So if you want to call in and talk about pesticides and marijuana, you want to dial in 831-479-1080.
No.
Do we already have another call already? Does that say Ontario, Canada? Yes. So we have a Canada call already out of the gate. Yes. Okay. So we'll get with you here in just a minute, and we'll listen to Canada. What's that? Really good.
So what you said, it infuriated you, and that was a statement you made because I think a lot of people don't know that the marijuana that they're smoking has been treated with chemicals.
Right, which you think that would have been the most organic thing possible, especially here in California.
Right.
But after realizing that it has been just nothing but the Wild West with medical marijuana here in California. Now, there is Prop 64 that they're starting to introduce regulations on everything, and this has happened in Colorado and up in Canada, a matter of fact, because they've got lawsuits that are going on. So now I look at the marijuana issue as the only way I can describe it is a bullet train coming into California. It's the next California gold rush starting January 1st.
That's right.
So it would not, I'm going to throw this out there too. It would not surprise me if big corporations, finding out about the pesticide issues, wouldn't put the current dispensaries and growers in litigation around the first of the year as the competition rolls into California. It just makes sense to me, right?
It does.
Because when you get the attorneys like the what am I thinking of? The asbestos attorneys and the mesothelioma attorneys, for them to throw a couple $1 million is like throwing a couple cents into a wishing well to go and get samples, test them, and have the lines drawn to all the dispensaries. Because when you're getting ready for a lawsuit, that's what they do, right?
Yeah. And I think one of the things too, though, Wes, is with California coming up with more and more strict regulations around pesticides being utilized in marijuana, you're going to see these corporations begin to fight those type of laws and regulations being passed.
Right. Well, they won't so much fight them as what I'm worried. What the regulations are going to be a good thing because it's actually going to standardize stuff. I think the existing ones that have been dealing this poison out to the public, and I understand there's some local issues here, but we're talking about as a whole, the industry didn't test their product before they gave it to the consumers.
Right.
So there's without a doubt that some of these pesticides, frankly honest, is going to cause people to be sick later on. How sick? That's all up to the attorneys to figure out, but that's what's going to end up happening. So that's what really frustrated me. So I started looking into growing marijuana organically as a business for me to get into. And that's even a longer story too. But in that, I found GrowZone and Amphil Technologies, and that's what. And then the stock thing also is a part of that too, right? So because when you have Amphil with 3 different subsidiaries, all with revenue streams, one of the subsidiaries has multiple revenue streams. We're going to get more into that in the show later on. It's just like a really good company, and I wanted to showcase a company, and then I asked the CEO to come on next week after we have this show. So it's actually kind of a 2-part show.
Yeah.
And this show is really we're just coming up with the format now. This is just the first couple of shows.
Yeah, we're
right?
2 guys sitting on the porch.
Right, we're just 2 guys sitting on the porch talking about stuff.
We want other people to call in and talk with us too.
Right,
but
we
that'll
do
give us
have
a better insight when the CEO comes in, and we'll have more. How would I say it? A greater explanation and understanding of what Amphil is actually doing.
Right, and we'll get also into more of that too. But if somebody's holding from Canada, I think we should talk to them.
I think so too.
All right, so I'm gonna bring Trevor up. Maybe if the mouse works.
Hello.
Trevor, can you hear me?
I can.
Welcome, and being the very first caller on My 2 Cents.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yeah. So what's on your mind?
Well, first I just want to say thank you to you guys for doing this. I'm on Investors Hub a lot. I don't post. I read everything on there.
Awesome.
So thanks for doing this, number one.
Oh, not a problem. That's what this show's about. Is for all the people on Investor Hub, and for the Tim Sykes guys. It's really for us a place to come together and talk.
Yeah, it's perfect. And I know in Canada right now the pesticide issue is huge. We have a lot of we have a lot of growers, but a few that are really slated to become huge in terms of production. So the pesticide issue has already reared its ugly head here, and it's resulted in a lawsuit, I know, in at least in one case. So that's what led me to finding Amphil and GrowZone, was because I was looking into other methods of, how are we going to tackle this problem, and what are they doing about it type thing, and that's what led me to Amphil, which led to more research, and I'm now an investor, shareholder of Amphil, because I had to be after looking at what they do and their numbers already, but you mentioned the other subsidiaries, and they're doing well, and I think they're poised for huge growth, especially here in Canada now, and also with California coming online as well.
Well, what's nice is they're ahead of the curve because they're already certified organic, both in the U.S. and in Canada. And that was my goal is to bring a company that is doing the right things, shows profit, growth, going to a brick and mortar company, really doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. And it's without a doubt Amphil Technologies is doing that.
But
Absolutely.
But Trevor,
And-
also, I think that, coming from a humanistic side, you said something very important, that you care, and that's what we do. We care about people because we don't know what these things are going to happen. What kind of chemicals cause people to get sick in the future.
Right.
So that was very important, and you're invested in a company that's bringing something good to change, and that's what we want to do.
Absolutely, because
That's what really attracted me to him.
Yeah, Trevor, I appreciate you calling in, and I'm glad that you're on board.
Can I say one more thing before I go?
Sure, absolutely.
Just in regards to the other subsidiary of Amphil, one of the three is the Snakes and Loggers, Snakes and Lattes.
Snake and Lattes, yeah.
Amazing place in Toronto. It's a huge hotspot, and it's only getting more popular. So I just want to say thanks for bringing attention to that too.
No, not a problem. We'll be definitely talking about that probably a little bit later on in the show today, and then definitely next week, in the last half hour next week. Roger Mortimer, the CEO of Amphil, will be our co-host, along with Ambrose Phyllis of GrowZone, the president. So thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Trevor.
So getting into because this affected me, because I've had whether you're for it or against it, when somebody has cancer and their immune system is already weak, to find out that it was a potential that pesticides was, because when you do that, people use marijuana to create an appetite when they have cancer.
Right.
And that's what really kind of forces them to eat.
And a natural painkiller.
Right. And, when somebody's sick, you want whatever they're taking to be perfect. And when I found out about this, it just absolutely floored me. And I'm going to keep on going back to that. And I understand that these first two shows are going to be about this, and it's going to drive, but we're actually pretty funny people. And other shows are going to be into more lessons and all that.
We're learning. We're
learning. It's going to be a blast. So, we
Line
have,
up the board.
we got
Line
another
up
phone
the
call. We have, this is Fast Money from Minnesota. Fast Money, you are on My Two Cents on KSEO. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, Wes. How you doing?
Doing all right. How things in Minnesota? Is it warming up there yet?
Hey, I wish it was. Today was cold and rainy, but hey, summer's coming.
Right on.
You got to get out of California here, Fast Money.
So I know.
Seriously,
So again, a lot of this radio show is dedicated to the people at iHub, and not just but also their experiences and their knowledge and sharing and conversation. So Fast Money is one of the people that I watch frequently on iHub.
Yeah.
So what
Hey, I want to tell you guys what an awesome idea for a show. I'll tell you what. There's so many people that can benefit from a show like this, and kudos to you guys for putting this together, because I think a lot of people will learn an awful lot about investing in the OTC.
Yeah, that's the goal. Again, this is a show about entertainment. Nobody is saying anybody that's going to invest money has to do their own research and due diligence. That's absolutely important. Nobody here is promoting anything. Nobody's paying us to do anything. The only way that you get on this show is being invited. I want to make sure that that's very clear, and there's going to be additional guests that are going to be on the show. I'm not going to say that. Maybe later. I might say it later. But there's some other things that are lined up in the shows further on down the road that I hope we're going to have some actually Class A guys that'll be here. And just to let you know too, I'm a Timothy Sykes student. I am somebody that actually believes in what he does, and I'm very excited to be in one of his students. But there's all sorts of different tools that we want inside our toolbox to do this. And that, he would probably sit there going, "You're crazy for doing this," as far as his perspective and versus what he likes to do. What I just think that you need every tool in the book. I know that I'm long on Amphil. I believe in the company, so that's
I think
what I do.
It's also important too, like Fast Money calling in, other callers in. They give us their perspective as well. So Fast Money, thank you, man. You're awesome for calling in, and thanks for the compliments. They're awesome.
Appreciate it.
No, I think it's great you guys are doing what you're doing. I was going to tell you on Timothy Sykes, I think you couldn't be more right. He looks at a lot of companies and he figures out kind of when to get in and when to get out, and I've done that a lot, and actually that's what I normally do. And you guys were talking about Amphil earlier. I'm actually in Amphil as well, and that's one I think, like you, Wes, I'm holding because I feel like the fundamentals warrant that.
That's
right. I agree, bud. Well, thanks for calling in, and call in next week too. And Roger will be here and co-host, and you can ask all sorts of questions because he has agreed to take questions over the phone.
Hey,
so
that's awesome.
That's even cool.
Thanks,
All right, buddy.
Fast Money.
Take it easy, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right, so here's the thing: we've got an hour show, and this is something similar that happened with my last show. Is that I set up an hour and go to 2, and I've got 2 other phone calls, or maybe we should just go straight to the other line.
Let's go with that. I like this because it's giving us more education and perspective from everybody.
Right.
This is
so
awesome.
we're gonna talk. The next one we're gonna go to is Russ near C, Washington.
Seattle.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, we're at Seattle. He's short.
Near Seattle.
I'm near Seattle. Okay.
Put your glasses on, Wes.
Yeah, there, Russ. Yeah, maybe I should.
Hey, Wes. Yeah, my name is Russ. I'm from Renton, Washington.
Oh, Renton, Washington. Right on.
Yeah, we're just across Lake Washington
Real
from
nice
from
place.
Seattle. Oh, it's great.
Nice.
Actually, we had sunshine today, and for the
Wow.
first time in about a year, I actually got a little suntan.
Right.
And so I got to get some sunscreen, But Seattle is the sunglass capital of the world, believe it or not.
One thing I
hey,
like, Russ, about Renton is beautiful sight of Mount Rainier from there. Man.
Oh,
awesome.
yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Hey, I want to thank you, Wes. I think this is just an awesome idea to bring such an important issue to public awareness. Washington State passed marijuana a couple of years ago, and seems like we have marijuana shops like on every corner, almost like Starbucks. It's incredible. Yeah, I've been with Amphi for almost a year and a half now, about 18 months.
Awesome.
And from the very beginning, I was absolutely fascinated. This is before all of this stuff happened, I was absolutely fascinated with the technology that they were looking at, the business plans that the company was executing, the leadership that the company has gone, and everything that they have said that they were going to do, they have done and they have executed. It's been absolutely incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And again, we have to keep saying it over. And we're not here. You need to do your own research. You got to go out and look at it.
That's right.
You got to do your own research.
Talk to somebody.
You got to talk to somebody. Talk to an investor. Whoever. But
So I'd like to say. So the other day, I went down to get a haircut, and right next door to our hairstylist, there's a marijuana shop. And it does, the parking lot is always full. Last year, they had Snoop Dogg down there doing a big event. And I don't know if he has an interest in it or not, but there were literally hundreds and hundreds of people. So, I walked over after I got my haircut, and I asked the guy who was checking people coming in, I go, I got a question for you. I know marijuana pesticides is a really, really big issue in selling. What are you, I'm not going to mention the store, but what are you guys doing to prevent any kind of pesticides issues with the marijuana you're selling? And he looked at me and goes, what pesticide issues?
What are you talking about? Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Exactly.
And I was so just dumbfounded. I said, okay, well, thank you. And I turned my head and I go, oh, boy.
Well,
yeah.
And that's it. It's the wild, wild west. Now, thank God they're putting regulations in, and that's going to bring stuff down. But a lot of these dispensaries don't realize, one, what they've put out into the public, and then two, what it's actually going to take to mitigate the lawsuits.
Yeah.
That's the only way to put it. And the testing that's going to end up happening, of the product going to the lab, being tested, then sent back before it goes in. There's a whole process that's going to end up take place now.
I wonder if Snoop Dogg knows he's smoking now. So we can get him on the show.
All right. But anyway, thank you guys. I think this is an awesome format, and it's really an important issue to get that word out about, especially this is like you say, a freight train just coming down. It's going to have a major impact, I think, on the whole industry.
Yes, I agree. And it is, and it's a business. It's, California is that's the gold rush. That's right. I mean, it will be. I mean, the economy here, as far as the legalizing marijuana in January, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens and how it's going to change.
Amphil's going to take off on this. This is just because they care.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, but not only the Grow Zone, but they also have other subsidiaries like the Snake and Lats, the board games, which is absolutely incredible,
Well,
and some other stuff.
Yeah, and they have, with them, they have exclusive distributorships, which on top of the restaurant. So and we're going to get into that more too. I mean, it's a really good company in my mind. So anyway,
great. Hey,
Russ,
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
you.
Russ.
Hey, we're going to go. Bye-bye. We're going to go straight to Rick in Vancouver, Washington. Rick, you're on with My 2 Cents.
Hey, Wes. Great idea for the show, man. This is going to be awesome.
Hey, we like you guys calling from Canada, man.
Oh, is it Vancouver,
Right
Washington,
on. Well, yeah,
or
nice
Canada?
to see you guys doing your thing. Look, just wanted to give a quick call, and I see you guys are on the MPhil topic. I was reading some recent press by them, and it looks like they're working on a deal to set up a 10-acre grow deal for a facility in California.
Correct.
I was just wondering if you guys have heard anything more about this, or, since you guys are local, if you've heard anything kind of on the streets around there about this.
Well, there is, in the area that we're actually in, all the old flower greenhouses that companies vanished, all new glass is being put in them, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of square feet of greenhouses are being, let's say, remodeled.
Yeah.
All over the
Right.
place here. And it's going to be an exciting time. I mean, that's from what we understand, it's companies from out of state that have signed these leases. These aren't people that are here. So they're getting ready.
Right.
That's what's going to make this
So
thing
is there anything specific to the MPhil Technologies deal, or?
Well, that part I don't know. I mean, that's one of the that part I don't know. That's what we'll be talking to Roger about next week.
And I think these big corporations are really getting ready because, like Wes is saying, this thing's going to just take off. This is the next big thing coming as a wave. It's going to hit us, and we just need to be ready.
Yeah, just need to be ready. And whether you're for it or against it, it's going to happen. So don't, you can either get in on the train or you can watch the train go by. One of the two. That's my thought process behind it. I mean, personally, I like to be on the train. Anyway,
Yeah.
we gotta take a break here at the bottom of the hour and play CBS News.
Thanks,
we will be
Rick.
back right after the news.
U.S. and blame of Saudi Arabia for the 9/11 attacks. President Trump appealed to Muslim leaders in Riyadh today to help combat the scourge of terrorism.
Terrorism's devastation of life will continue to spread. Peaceful societies will become engulfed by violence, and the futures of many generations will be sadly squandered.
Mr. Trump characterized the effort as a battle between good and evil. CBS's Margaret Brennan is traveling with the president.
The president repeatedly referenced the threat posed by Iran and its sponsorship of terrorist groups like Hezbollah, a common enemy here in the Arab world and in Israel, where he heads tomorrow.
Mr. Trump also helped launch a new center for combating extremism online. CBS News Update, I'm Pam Coulter.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Costa, host of the Costa Report. I don't know if you feel a little sluggish in the middle of the afternoon like I do, but if you do, I'm going to suggest you try Pollen Burst. It's an orange-flavored energy drink that comes in a packet, and it tastes a lot like that other orange drink the astronauts used to drink. You know the one. Pollen Burst contains vitamins A, B1, B3, B6, B12, pantothenic acid, vitamin D3, and gluconolactone, all designed to give you an energy boost that can last for hours. Pollen Burst comes in a box of 30 packets for $56 or 2 boxes for $100, and you can order it right now at kscoteam.com. The next time you feel tired and need a little boost, skip the coffee, soda, or candy bar and mix up a cold glass of Pollen Burst and do your body some real good. Go to kscoteam.com.
Hi, registered pharmacist Ben Fuchs here. I've been studying healthy bodies for 35 years, and what I've got to tell you may shock and surprise you, but if you listen up, it may change your life. By far the leading cause of death worldwide is a class of illnesses doctors call non-communicable diseases, or NCDs. These are chronic long-term illnesses that aren't spread from person to person and that don't resolve themselves. One of the more recently described NCDs is a constellation of symptoms referred to as TINU or TINU. TINU, which stands for tubulointerstitial nephritis and uveitis, is an inflammation of the kidney blood vessels, that's the tubulointerstitial nephritis part, and the eyes, that's the uveitis. But this breakdown is not restricted to the eyes and kidneys, that's just where it's noticed. In other words, as exotic and complicated as it sounds, TNU is just another run-of-the-mill circulatory issue that affects the entire body. To reverse TNU or any other circulation system disease, whether it involves the kidneys, the eyes, heart, or the blood flow itself, it's best to take a twofold approach. In the first place, strengthening blood vessels with nutrition, and in the second place, reducing the burdens on the circulatory system by eliminating digestive stresses, lowering blood sugar, and reducing psychological strain, which can put undue pressure on circulatory vessels. That means working on the digestive system by eliminating problem foods and using probiotics, working on the blood sugar system by eating less sweets and flour and processed foods and drink, and turning on the relaxation nervous system. Use nutrition, make sure you're practicing your deep breathing, and of course, mental and emotional strategies are really important. And these are all simple things that everyone should be doing, TNU or not. Pharmacist Ben here, urging you to go to kscohealth.com to order Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the Healthy Start Pack, and other nutritional supplements that I personally use and recommend. You can purchase these premium quality products at wholesale prices online at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com. I'm the pharmacist that believes that staying healthy and strong is not only about medicine, it's about giving your body the raw materials it needs to do its work. Go to kscohealth.com. Make sure you check out the cool videos too at kscohealth.com. That's kscohealth.com.
Hey, here's a reminder. My 2 Cents is an entertainment program. Before you invest your hard-earned money in anything, do your due diligence and your own research. Now, back to the program.
It happens. Welcome back to My 2 Cents. I'm your host, Wes Holz.
With Robert Matias.
And my very good friend, Robert Matias. Remember, you can watch us on KSU Global on the YouTube channel. And 831-479-1080 is the phone number to call in.
Give that one more time, Wes.
831-479-1080. Was that slow enough?
That was slow enough.
All right, just want to make sure.
I'm a little dyslexic here.
You're more than dyslexic. I was worried about you getting here today.
I made it.
You were in Pismo Beach
I was in Pismo Beach.
Right.
Yeah.
Playing on quads. How do you feel today, Robert? I know this story, but
60 years old. I thought I was feeling like I was 20 until this morning.
Right.
Yeah.
You were hurt.
60 years came back.
You know what I did on Tuesday?
What?
So you know when you pull into the gas station and you see a guy with a nozzle in his tank still and he pulls off?
Yeah.
And what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Dumbass. Right?
Well, yeah, that's sort of.
Right.
I'm taking cover just in case it catches on fire.
Well, no, because they're a breakaway nozzle. They're designed to do that. But the first thing you go is, dummy.
Uh-huh.
What were you thinking? Well, guess what? It happened to me on Tuesday.
Okay.
So now I'm the dumbass.
You're the dumbass. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But the funny part was the cops got called.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
You still have the nozzle in your tank?
No, I didn't have the nozzle in the tank, but the gas station manager thought I was going to take off leaving. I'm saying, no, I'm just getting my stuff. And anyway, she called the cops, and then my phone rang again. I was talking to that. Next thing you know, the cop comes up to me thinking that I'm trying to hand her my information. She just wanted me to fill out that incident form. I said, I'm not filling out your form, but here's my license. And the cop comes up, well, why are you giving her a hard time? I said, I'm not giving her a hard time. I'm trying to give her my information. I just didn't want to fill out her form. Really? And he looks at he doesn't have to fill out the form. It was funny.
Oh. Okay. Is that why the cops are at the front door now?
No.
Oh, okay. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah, let's get back to it. Sorry. Off the other side. We still have more phone calls. They've been waiting here this long time. Let's first I want to go to Gordy because I know Gordy from the last show I did. Gordy, are you on the line?
Yes, that is. Yeah. Well, for those that were listening earlier, the fire is suppressed now up here.
Oh, good.
But this is tied in with the grows up here. You mentioned it being like the gold rush. Well, it's worse than that because every seedy character in the world with their greed is doing a lot of things, including using internationally banned pesticides.
Wow.
And whether or not you smoke that stuff, the real damage is done to the environment. It's killed off our creek here. There are no fish, no crawdads, nothing in the creek. There hasn't been a coyote around for the last 9 months, no raccoons. There's a lot of birds around and a lot of rats, but that's an issue that I have with pesticides.
Wow.
The environmental damage has been done.
You're right,
Now,
Gordy.
I've got a question because I know a big-time grower. He has a number of groups consolidated. He has a $70K a month payroll. He just got word from his credit union that no longer will they accept any money, and this is not an FDIC organization. So my question is, how do you get around this? Where do you store your money? How can you write your payroll checks if the federal government considers this money laundering from an illegal activity per the federal government?
Well, the fact is that the federal government is going to change. They have no choice. I firmly believe that. And in later shows, we're going to be bringing people on to sit there and actually talk about that exact issue. So you got to stay tuned, Gordy, on future shows.
Okay.
You're ahead of the game on me, man.
Well, in the meantime, what do I tell my friend? Where can he go? I mean, he's considering going over to Oakland and doing business there, which I really don't want him to do, and I really don't think that he wants to do that. But he's being forced out of the coast here. You know, he has a lot of things from San Francisco all the way down to Santa Barbara.
Well,
and,
yeah, I don't have an answer to that, Gordy. To be perfectly honest with you, that's outside of the realm of what I know.
Yeah.
Okay. I also need to point out my sister lives on Victoria Island, not very far from the official Canadian government cannabis operations, and that's where everything in Canada comes from, is from that well-guarded building. And they do provide for free cannabis products to those that are qualified, you know, like for medical reasons and so forth. That may be changing, you know, somewhere along the line, but I'm wondering how Canada was able to do this, yet here in the United States, we can't.
Well, we will find out as time goes on. Gordy, thanks for calling in. I want to get to the other phone call here from Bloomington, Illinois.
Thanks, Gordy.
And Green Thumb 21, you're on KSEO, my 2 cents. How are you today?
Good, fellas. How are you guys doing? I'm actually on the board currently, and everybody's really excited. It's fun.
Right on.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Thanks for holding on so long, Green Thumb. Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I said, I mean, I didn't. I kind of just got on iHub within the last few weeks and stumbled upon Amphil and noticed you guys were doing the show. I didn't know it was the first time, and it's a great idea. It's a great show. It's a great forum.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm real excited about it. It's been a few years actually in the making of coming up with the show. So as time goes on, we're going to change the format, and not change the format, but add other things and talk other stuff. And I'm going to make my dog famous, I guess.
And then, you know, I mean, Gordy, we're here as
that's not Gordy. That's Green Thumb.
Oh, I'm sorry, Green Thumb. I apologize.
Gordy was a call before, Robert.
That's right. I apologize.
I'm sorry, audience. He's hurt me.
The age things. And I'm going to say I don't smoke marijuana, by the way, but I do believe in Amphil, and I do believe in the humanistic side of things of protecting people if they want to recreationally be involved in that or for medical reasons. The pesticides in this stuff has just come to light, and Wes and I have been doing a lot of research on it, things that have been going on, people getting sick. You know, we care about folks.
Absolutely.
If somebody that's, you know, if you wish to indulge in that, you should be able to do it safely without, you know, unknowingly know that there's pesticides in something you wish to participate.
Well, that's what blew me away is because I absolutely thought that would have been the last industry to.
Yeah, well, we all think it's.
You know, I think peace, love, dope, right? So I didn't think anything of it. When I found about and they're not using pesticides that are designed for human consumption. They're doing pesticides that are for trees and flowers, and that are never even supposed to be touching the human body in any way, shape, or form.
And we know that, you know, the growing process of it, they have to keep the bugs off of it and things like that, but what are they using?
Well, and that's hopefully, we got about 15 minutes of the show. We're going to take a few more phone calls real quick, and I do want to kind of do...
hang on, fellas. Can I make a couple of questions real quick? I'm sorry. I'm just kind of listening. I enjoy the conversation.
We took over from you there, buddy.
It happened.
No, that's okay. Gordy made a good point with the pesticides, though, as far as the environmental damage it's going to do, and there's a lot of things to tackle with it. A quick couple points and question maybe. I have seen within the last week, I think, that there has been a bill, which I did just post a bill for Gordy about the bill that has been submitted where they're going to allow marijuana businesses banking, and that was submitted this week on Thursday, I think.
Right.
But then there was a different bill that I think is going to kind of trying to keep the recreational and medical markets both organic, which is where Amphil is going to benefit. And I'm just trying to figure out where Grow Zone fits into. Where are they going to try to go after commercial contracts with big producers that are in Canada, California, Nevada, or are they going to try to do both as far as supply individual growers with the? I've seen the smaller setup that's producing huge yields with a very small setup in the white with the little tube type structure.
Right, the Roto Grow, which they have the joint venture with. Absolutely, that's one of the things that I'm because that's even taking it a little bit farther. Forget about marijuana. Think about what that would do with fruits and vegetables. One of my ideas,
anything with tomatoes and all sorts of exactly.
How much healthier our foods would be.
And then with that idea also too, because one of the things that went through my head is okay, what if you converted a shipping container with solar panels, put all this together, send it overseas where babies are starving to death, and you can have rotational crop yields that are 3 times the crop yield for the same square footage. I was just like, that's ingenious.
There's a company that's doing Clone Shipper that has an LED built into it that can ship for 3 days across Canada and keep your clone growing with the LED technology. I actually own stock in there. I can't think of their symbol off the top of my head. But it's a Canadian company that's already doing that. So it's definitely going to be in the works as far as that type of technology with sending plants live, crops live, any type of thing like that.
Benefit a lot of people.
Well, and what's interesting too is here you have an industry that is about marijuana, but yet now can solve other issues.
It's going to touch so many different things.
And
it's going to be
that's the
insane.
amazing
I don't
point.
think people really can encapsulate the market. One quick question before I go, fellas.
Sure.
I don't want to keep you too long. I've heard you mention how the gold rush is really in California and everything's coming. I know Canada's going to be a big market too. Has anyone think that Amphil or other companies are going to really try to touch Nevada? Nevada just got approved to start recreational sales in July of this year.
Right.
So I think there's only going to be around 100 licensed producers and sellers, to where there's going to have to be a shortfall in that market.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's going to be, like I said, this is an economic train that people, I hope, realize it's coming. I really do.
I don't think they can. I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I still look at it. Netflix traded at 47 cents a share at one point in time. Now it's $153. Yeah. That's that's this kind of big idea in my head. But again,
and that's why we believe in Amphil.
Right.
This is gonna
what's the ceiling on Amphil? Is Amphil really a $20, $40?
I can't predict that. I'm not in. I can't say what. All I know is that here's a company that's growing, doing the right thing, filing all its paperwork, doing the right stuff to uplift.
Got all their ducks in a row and going to affect the business in a main way.
Right. That's what I think. But again, this is an entertainment show. We're not recommending or promoting anything. I want to keep putting that out there. It is just really cool on how they're dealing with stuff.
I'm sorry I was dropping numbers and asking ceiling. I'm just excited.
No, I hear you. We all are. So thanks a lot for calling in, Green Thumb.
Thank you guys very much.
All right, we're gonna take another phone call from Patricia in Florida. Patricia, you're on My 2 Cents on KSCO Radio and KSCO Global.
Hi, Wes. It's great to speak to you. I'm calling from Paradise, Florida, and I'm on the board as Patsy.
Right on.
I just want to give you kudos for starting this show, and it'll be it's been great so far. I know it's ending, but next week will be wonderful with Roger and Ambrose, and I don't know, Amphil is just a wonderful company. I mean, it's my first penny stock I've ever looked at, and I've been investing for 40 years.
Wow. There's a gold mine, Patricia.
Well, it's like my dad. My dad discovered Qualcomm back in the early '80s at $25, and I think this is the next best thing since that. And I'm just really looking forward to this week and all the good PR that's going to come out with it. That's there. It's such a stable company.
And Patricia, I mean, with marijuana having such a negative impact on society over the years. Talking
Right.
about how negative it was. This is such a positive thing where people can do something that's going to keep them healthy.
Well, it is now. Times have changed.
They've changed,
This is not a really bad drug. It helps so many people.
It sure does.
And I really thank you for what you're doing and look forward to next week's show. And kudos to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. That was Patricia. She called all the way in from Florida. It's late out there. It's like after 9 o'clock at night.
Probably later than that.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep on taking phone calls up until about, 5 minutes before the hour, and then we'll kind of go back because we didn't touch on anything that I wanted to touch on besides.
This
but
is
that's
great,
all right.
though.
No,
I
it's
like
good to
this
have phone
because
calls.
this is the knowledge
Absolutely.
We need that we want this show to take off.
Absolutely.
We want the people to have a voice.
Let's talk to Rod in Washington State. Rod, you're on My 2 Cents, KSCO Radio. How are you?
Hey, not too bad, guys. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Hey, so listen, I just wanted to call in and touch base on a couple of things because I think that the importance of this company and what they're doing is getting across, but I don't think that people quite understand why it's so important. And in my mind, it's like we think about pesticides, and our only real relevant relationship is with food. But what people don't, and so there's organic food out there, or natural food, which we all know is kind of a joke now, but people kind of are looking at that, and they're like, well, that's something that's been going on forever. But what they don't realize is that these things are overseen or regulated by the FDA or the USDA or these different companies. There is nothing for marijuana. It doesn't exist yet. There's nothing. So they can do whatever they want to this product that you are using.
That's right.
Eating, smoking, vaping, any of those things.
Imagine
that
how
is
quickly
so
that's absorbed.
severely dangerous.
Imagine how quickly that's absorbed into your body.
Oh, especially the smoking.
Totally, yeah.
Inhaling it's the worst.
It's
that's going straight to it. It's straight to it.
Straight to it.
Totally. And so this company, Amphil, and I, fairly recently invested with them just, for what we're talking about. The Snakes and Lattes thing, the world's first and most successful board game cafe. It's a cool thing taking the world by storm, but the grow zone side of it is like, it's mind-blowing that this solves that.
Yes.
It solves it, and it's such a cool thing. And it's like, it reminds me of Microsoft or, some of the other stocks that people joke and talk about, but it's like, if somebody had said, hey, check this out 50 years ago, like, it almost feels like it's that chance,
Yeah, we're definitely going to get in deeper next week with the pesticides, what pesticides they found, and what are the potential cancers that people are going to. And again, I look at it from a obviously an investment point, and obviously as a caring point on what they've done to people. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yeah, we got some stories.
Yeah, and there's we have the cannabis connection here on KSCO. That I listen to them they're not it's billing it right, but there's so many people that have done it wrong. How do you trust? You can't trust a dispensary now because of all the news stories that are out there where it's so widespread.
Well, we know now California is actually instituting some laws.
And there's whole crops that are getting yanked now too. Yeah. I mean there's some serious things that are going on. Well, Rod, up in Washington State, thanks for calling in. We'll definitely tune in next week when we have Roger and Ambrose on the show to talk more about Grow Zone and how it specifically, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but it literally sanitizes the air through using ozone, taking all the mold, taking all the fungus out of the air, cleaning the air, sanitizing it with not using any pesticides whatsoever, and the water too.
The water.
So there's some technical side to all this too that we need to get out there as well, along with Snakes and Lattes. Because
thanks, guys. Great
thank
show.
you.
Thanks,
you have
Rod.
a good day. So let's take Wendy and Ben Lowman. Wendy, you're on My 2 Cents with KSCO.
Well, congratulations on the new show.
Thank you.
And I specifically called in because I had a potential answer to Gordy's question about banking, though I was very happy to hear that they were sidelining all the problems that Colorado has had with this issue.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is there is a plethora of gem certification and precious stones being traded in Colorado. And that's a new development since they went legal, and I'm wondering if that's a way of holding some of the assets in an easy to transfer form.
Yeah, that's all the stuff I don't know how they do, because I have those questions too, and those are the shows that we're going to have up in front when it comes to the marijuana industry that's coming like a speeding bullet train into California.
It's an amazing thing, and we had it in the 70s in California. And it was, not only for, we had also a huge art movement, and it really set possibly what we're still seeing now is the higher real estate prices and the whole California dynamic. It's really going to be an amazing thing. I'm from Colorado, and I love to just look back and see people who wouldn't look so happy, people who were hiding, their illegal smiles, and now they can, be themselves.
We just want them to do it with
a
total
way.
relaxation that it's going to be a safe product for them. And those things you
food
brought
has been
up,
the main problem.
That's right.
Yeah.
The things you brought up, I think we're going to get more and more into that later on as the show develops. This is our first time on the air. We're going to have a good time. We want people like you to keep calling in because we gather facts, ideas, stories that we can use that other people out there can get to know too. So this is kind of a sounding board for all of our listening public out there. This is just awesome.
Well, congratulations. I love Wes on the Flight 1080 on weekdays. And
awesome.
Yeah, have a great time.
Thanks, Wendy. You have a good day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, so that pretty much cleared the board. We have about 5 minutes, so I kind of wanted to touch base on Amphil themselves and what Grow Zone is. So Grow Zone is, like I said before, is essentially in any greenhouse atmosphere. It doesn't work out. I'm assuming it doesn't work except for maybe cleaning water in an open area. But in a green, see, that's what also threw me away. I was thinking that all the marijuana was being grown in greenhouses, and you had guys in Tyvek suits, because in Colorado, that's what I saw. But out here, it's not like that.
No, it's not.
It's like, just like what Gordy said, they're growing it up in the mountains and using every pesticide they're not supposed to be using to keep the bugs away. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's supposed to be medical marijuana. It's supposed to be pure, right? That's what irritated me to no end.
And those points, like we talked about, places like Humboldt County, different areas where it's grown at, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
We don't know what's being used. We don't have no idea. And then where are they taking that stuff to be sold at? Dispensaries or wherever. I'm sure they have their clientele, but what type of testing is involved? We don't. And then we were talking about this earlier about California coming up with new rules,
Prop 64,
regulations, for the testing of that marijuana, where they want those pesticides taken out.
And that's expensive testing. It's not cheap.
That's
anyway. So anyway, with Grow Zone and Amphil, it literally changes the oxygen molecules inside the greenhouse, right?
Right.
So no bugs can survive, no mold can survive, no fungus can survive, and then they also have a process where they reoxygenate the water and take all the molds and fungus out of the water too that's being supplied to the plant.
And it's less care through the product that's being used, less care and time that the individual has to spend on that marijuana.
Right. I mean, you have no labor. There's all sorts of good reasons for it. So, and then of course they have the joint venture with RotoGrow, which is that's incredible too, that the equipment can just automatically
self-feed itself.
Right. There's all sorts of stuff, and I've on my Facebook page, My 2 Cents Facebook page, which I forgot to totally talk about. Just go and like, share, tell everybody about it. Tell everybody that the show is dedicated to the investors, and it's a place to sit down and have a beer. And of course, we can't drink beer. We're in the radio station, but
That's a big
come and take a look.
That's a big
and then there's Snakes and Lattes too, which is another subsidiary of Amphil Technology,
that's right.
And that's the board game where they have distribution rights in Canada and other parts of the world to distribute on Amazon. And like if you go into a Walmart in Canada, they're the ones that actually supply the Cards Against Humanity card game. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff, and their involvement with Cineplex, which is a big, huge theater complex, and so there's all sorts of questions that we're going to be able to ask.
They don't know what the involvement is here. And this is a great opportunity for people to look at.
Research it. Come back next week, and if you've got questions, ask them, because that's what this show's about.
I'm excited to be.
No, it's going to be
involved with
fun. It's going to be fun.
I'm excited about this radio show. I'm excited to be involved with Amphil. I'm excited to talk about it, just like all these callers called in today. It's an exciting thing.
It is. It's going to be good. And guess what? It's already. Is it top of the hour already?
It's top of the hour already.
Wow. See, I told you this show was going to go by quick. An hour goes by that fast. You might have to go to 2 hours.
Maybe here at KSCO.
1080 a.m. All right. Thanks for joining us, and maybe next time I'll actually get more stuff out. Oh, we got 1 minute left? Oh, that was, you brought up the music a little too soon there, did you, Jeff? No? Oh, all right. So we got a minute.
Yeah. Let's talk about this back to what we're talking about here.
Right.
We're not
so
talking about
first off, I want to get Amphil Technologies' website out. It's www.amphiltech.com. You can also... Interlock Kings, which is another subsidiary of Amphil Technology, is www.interlockkings.com.
Spell out Amphil for those who...
AMFIL.
Okay.
Technologies.
That was for our listening audience.
Right, for our listening audience. Thank you for reminding me that. And then you can go to GrowZone, GROZONE.biz. And then there's Snakes and Lattes. And then Snakes and Lattes is SNAKES, and the word and, A-N-D. Lattes, LATTES.com.
Oh, you really want that one. But go to those sites. And
research it. Come back
it.
and tell us if you don't think that if it's not a good idea. You can see my 2 cents Facebook page. You can search Facebook at KSCO MTC for my 2 cents and like and share.
That's right.
Y'all have a good night.
KSCO, Santa Cruz.
CBS News, I'm Pam Coulter. President Trump is resetting his approach to the Muslim world. In a speech in Saudi Arabia, he cast aside his harsh campaign rhetoric to appeal to Arab leaders to help fight terrorism.
Speaking to his counterparts from more than 50 Muslim nations, including at least 4 affected by his travel ban, President Trump urged them to do their fair share to drive out terrorists.
Our goal is a coalition of nations who share the aim of stamping out extremism.
He didn't use the phrase radical Islamic terror, which was a hallmark of his campaign speeches, and he maintained a subdued tone throughout.
Just imagine what tomorrow could bring.
Stephen Portnoy, CBS News, with the president in Riyadh.
The president's next stop is Tel Aviv. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Mr. President, we look forward to your visit. The citizens of Israel will receive you with open arms.
That despite reports that Mr. Trump shared classified information obtained from Israel with Russian diplomats. The president's more than 6,000 miles away from Washington, but the controversy over his firing of FBI Director James Comey is hard to escape.
I'm Tom Foti. Republican Senator Marco Rubio agrees recent reports about James Comey's firing and related matters do need a close look, like the hearing now expected after Memorial Day.
These media reports that are out there raise questions that deserve answers, and we're going to get answers in a public forum.
His main questions for Comey.
What did the president say? Did, in fact, you keep memos? What do those memos say, and why did you write them?
Democrat Dianne Feinstein.
What I want to know from him is how many times did he meet with the president? What was he asked by the president?
Both are members of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Both appeared on Face the Nation. Tom Foti, CBS News, Washington.
Dozens of students and others got up and walked out as Vice President Mike Pence began his commencement address at Notre Dame today. WSB TV's Cassidy Williams.
It was not only students that left the stadium. Some were joined by their friends and family.
I feel very honored to have my family support, and I think that they are proud of me, and so that's all I could ask for.
I was a bit nervous. I did ask, do we have to? But I know her intentions. I'm just very proud of my sister. She's going to do great things, and I know it. And I hope she knows that I support her all the way.
Family members who walked out still got to see their graduates turn their tassels. It was just maybe a different background than they had originally expected.
Hundreds turned out for the opening of a park in Warwick, Rhode Island. It's dedicated to the victims of the 2003 Station nightclub fire. Governor Gina Raimondo.
My hope and my prayer is that this memorial can be a place of comfort and remembrance and healing. And I hope it can give you peace.
100 people died in the fire and more than 200 were injured. This is CBS News.
I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch, where you can get the world's most comfortable sheets for less than half of what you'd pay in the store. Our sheets are made from 100% organic cotton and get softer over time. Even 3 U.S. presidents have Boll & Branch sheets. Try them for 30 nights. If you don't love them, send them back for a full refund. Go to bollandbranch.com today for $50 off your first set of sheets, plus free shipping with promo code SLEEP. Spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com, promo code SLEEP.
Wouldn't it be great if you could stop crime before it happens? With the Ring Floodlight Cam, you can. I'm Jamie Siminoff, inventor and founder of Ring. Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated HD security camera that connects right to your phone, so you're alerted when anyone steps onto your property. You can now see, speak, or even sound an alarm right from your phone, anywhere, anytime. Does your floodlight prevent crime? Ours does. Go to ring.com/advantage and save $150 off of a Ring of Security kit. That's ring.com/advantage.
Good evening. You're listening to KSCO Santa Cruz, AM 1080, FM 1041, 1079 in San Jose, and of course, worldwide at KSCO.com. You can also hear reruns 24/7 at ZBSradio.com. It's 7:04. Let's check in quickly on your weather and traffic. Last time we checked, things were a nightmare on 17 northbound. Right now, no exception. Things backed up 5 miles an hour, Scotts Valley, all the way to the Cats.
Okay.
And also 101 northbound, very heavy still. Parking lot status coming out of Prunedale, also through Sargent and as well as into Morgan Hill. Significant backup there. 5 miles an hour from Rucker in Morgan Hill. 156, also pretty heavy right now as it usually is this time of night on a Sunday towards 101. If you could take Blackie Road, that would definitely be recommended. 183 is wide open. 68 looks good. 129, fantastic. 152 getting by nicely as well. 85 wide open, by the way, as well. Patchy fog tonight after 11 p.m. Otherwise, increasing clouds and loading 53 degrees. Tomorrow, patchy fog in the morning. Mostly sunny in the afternoon. A high near 72. Looks like we'll have weather just like that through the next few days. It's 7:06 at KSCO. Up next, it's Golden Age of Radio. And we'll play double episodes of Dragnet. It's followed, of course, by Dr. Wattenberg Jr. This is KSCO Santa Cruz. Have a great night, everybody.
It must be, it has to be, with that big sound it's gotta be KSCO.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. An organized gang of pickpockets is working in your city. None of the victims can give a description of the suspects. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Get them.
It was Tuesday, May 10th. We were working the day watch out of Bunko Fugitive Division, pickpocket detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from communications, and it was 11:14 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunko.
Joe?
Yeah.
Anything come in from St. Louis?
Yeah, they checked the Carney's plan back there. No trace of Beck.
Tip was wrong then, huh?
Yeah, looks like it.
Where to now?
Well, about all we can do is sit and wait for a reply on the radiogram. He's got to be someplace, and he isn't going to stop working. There'll be word on him somewhere.
I'll be glad when we turn the key.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
I wonder if you could help me.
Oh, we'll try, sir. You want to come on in? What's it all about?
I've been robbed.
Sir?
They took my money, all of it, every bit. I don't know how, but they took it all. I don't know what to do.
Well, do you want to sit down?
Yes, please. I don't know how they did it. I tried to be so careful, but they took it all. 37 years doing without, and now I got nothing.
Well, this is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday. Maybe if you tell us what happened here, we could help you.
Yes, maybe. I'm Louis Bonning.
Yes, sir?
I live at 1820 Woodworth Court, Los Angeles, 12. I have a room there.
I see.
$14 a week in privileges.
If you tell us what happened, Mr. Bonning, we might be able to do something for you.
And I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to think of what happened. I don't believe it yet.
Oh, now, you said you were robbed. Is that right?
Yes, $5,200. All gone.
Well, were you held up?
No, nothing like that. If it was that way, I'd know. But just all of a sudden, I put my hand in my pocket to feel the money, and it wasn't there. Nothing was there. I had a pocket full of empty.
Well, now, sir, do you usually carry that much money around with you?
No, mister. I got it from the bank this morning. I'm going away. I was leaving Los Angeles. That's why I had the money, so I could leave.
All right, sir. Suppose you start right at the beginning and tell us the whole story, will you?
Well, my wife passed on 4 weeks ago, Monday, April 4th. Yeah, that's when it happened, April 4th.
Uh-huh.
We came to this country when we were both young. She died 4 weeks ago.
Yes, sir. If you'd go on about the theft, please.
Well, I thought I'd maybe go back to Chicago to live with one of my daughters. She asked me to come, and I thought I would, so I drew out the money.
You took the money out of the bank?
Yes, this morning. $5,200. It's what we'd saved. I couldn't leave it here in the bank if I was going to be in Chicago.
Well, you could have had the money transferred, you know.
Well, I guess that's what I should have done, but it's too late now.
Did you have the money when you left the bank?
Yes. I rolled the bills up and put them here in my pocket. Here, this one on the left side. I kept my hand on the money, so I knew it was there.
Now, what'd you do after you left the bank?
Well, I was going home. I thought I'd walk home. I went down the street, and then I thought I'd stop for some coffee. I was all packed at my room, so I didn't want to make a mess. I thought I'd have a cup of coffee out.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the big market. They have a coffee counter there, and I went in and sat down. All the time I kept my hand on the money. I could feel it through the pants. It was in my pocket.
Yes, sir.
I had the coffee, and I went to go out of the market. As I walked through all the people, a box fell off a stack of boxes and almost hit me. I didn't think anything about it. Nobody was hurt. All the people in the market came over to me and asked if I was all right, but I said yes, I was all right. Then I went out of the market. I got on the street. When I remembered about the money, it was gone.
Now, it had been taken from you in the market, is that right?
Yes, mister. It was in the market, I think.
Well, let's get this straight. While you were in there, did anyone bump into you?
I don't understand.
I mean, anyone jostle you, bump into you without reason?
No, I don't remember it.
Did anybody follow you from the bank to the market that you noticed?
It was hard to tell, mister. There are a lot of people on the streets. It would be hard to tell if there was anyone.
Yes, sir, I understand. But was there any one person you recall having seen this morning? One face that you might remember, maybe?
No, mister. I tried to think about it, but there's no one.
I see.
Do you think you'll get it back for me?
Sir?
The money. It makes a big difference.
How's that?
Before, when I had the money, I could go and live with my daughter. With the money, I could be independent. It'd be a different feeling. You understand, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
That's why it's so important you get the money back, so I can go live with my daughter. So I can do that. That's the only reason I trouble you. The only reason I have to ask you to find the man. That's the only reason I got it.
It's a little different with us, sir.
Huh?
We've got another one. For the past several weeks, we've been getting reports of the existence of an organized gang of pickpockets working in Los Angeles. Contrary to most opinion, a pickpocket seldom works alone. Like everything else, it's gotten to be a highly specialized operation. Normally, there are several men to each team. The jug mob, who usually spends his time in banks looking for the victim. The shover, who pushes or bumps the victim so his money can be taken. And the wire, who does the actual pocket picking. In certain types of operation, the jug mob is replaced by the short, who works streetcars and spots people who have large amounts of money. Under normal circumstances, a professional group of pickpockets can take approximately $5,000 a day out of a tip or a crowd. 11:47 a.m. We had the victim, Louis Bonning, look through the pictures of known pickpockets for a possible identification of the man who'd taken his money. He was unable to find anybody who looked familiar. We told him to go home, and we said that we'd be in touch with him. 12:35 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
It's a rough one, huh?
Yeah, they all come out that color, don't they? I sure hope we can do some good for him.
Yeah, nice old guy.
You want to get in touch with Slim Ramos? Let's go down and talk to him. He might be able to come up with something.
Yeah, I'll get his number. I gotta get a new book. This one's getting almost impossible to use.
Yeah.
Look at this. Numbers all crossed out, you know, when they change the prefixes.
Yeah.
Sure made a mess out of my book. Here it is. X Brooks. 4. Slim Ramos there? Hey, Slim, this is Frank Smith. Yeah. Good. Yeah, say, Slim. Now, wait a minute. No, the reason I called you, Joe and I'd like to come down and talk to you if it's okay. You going to be there this afternoon? Uh-huh. No, nothing wrong. Just a couple of things we want to check over with you. Yeah. Okay. See you around 2:30, huh? Is that all right? Yeah. Okay. No, I know where it is. Right. See you then. He's going to be in all afternoon. Said he'd be glad to see us.
Good. Maybe he's got something we can use on this thing.
Well, he'll lay it out for us if he has.
Well, it's the one good thing about starting with nothing in it.
Yeah?
We can only go one way. 12:06 p.m. Frank and I checked out of the office and we started for Santa Monica. Slim Ramos had been one of the best pickpockets in the business. He'd been arrested and served a term in San Quentin. After he'd been paroled, he'd opened a small stand on one of the amusement piers near the beach. From his past record, Ramos had been cooperative with the police department, and several arrests were attributed to his information.